Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard. I'm joined by Monica Padman.
Hi there.
Hello there.
Your friend is here.
My old buddy, my sweet, sweet friend is here, Bradley Cooper. I don't need to tell you about Bradley Cooper, but I will anyways because he's an award-winning actor and a filmmaker. He's nominated right now for 15 to 17 Academy Awards for his film Maestro. But before that, of course, we have A Star is Born, The Hangover, American Sniper, Linings Playbook, Limitless. You know, hey, Cooper, what a fucking resume you've put together.
Yeah.
You know, time's just passing, and all of a sudden this list here assembles, and I'm staring at it, and it's what a career he's built.
That's incredible. But wait, you forgot to say Hit and Run and Brothers Justice.
Hit and Run and Brothers Justice, yes. Let us not forget. His movie Maestro is out now on Netflix. This is my favorite conversation I've had with him in years.
That's great. It was lovely.
Yeah, I really just it was just very impactful, and I really enjoyed it. So please enjoy my friend Bradley Cooper.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
I was worried about the traffic, but I'm okay. Right?
Yeah, you did fine.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Oscar luncheon. What happens there? What's that like?
Klugman's coming.
Okay, great. Kluggy will be in tow. You mean the voice of T-Mobile?
That's right. And the creative nucleus
force
behind it.
Shut up, Panay, as well.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of can't beat his voice.
Do you know about his friend Brian Klugman? Best friend since Philadelphia. And he and Panay are partners with Nate.
Oh, fun.
Yes, and Klugman's in the movie.
Oh, who is he in the movie?
Insane.
I know.
Could we just break this
Muffin
down for a
top?
second?
Yeah, Rob, explain
he's the
yourself.
expert, yeah.
So it's espresso with water, and then they have like a special whipped cream that they put on top.
Who's they?
Maru coffee.
Okay.
Shout out Morrow Coffee.
Best coffee in
Andrew
the
Panay,
city.
Black Ops, whatever, Nate Talk. Who else do we know from over our time together?
Wait, who is he in the movie?
Mr. Amoroso, my cello teacher when I was in 8th grade.
He's awesome in it.
Oh, I was just kidding.
Klugman.
Another shout out. Oh, isn't he great?
Yeah, I thought you were saying Klugman was playing Leonard Bernstein's
I know,
cello
that's what I
teacher.
thought. It's too early for jokes.
Sorry.
Okay, so your best
Oh,
friend
man, I'm
played.
sorry. This is the first thing I'm having all day.
No,
this
isn't
is
it great?
fantastic.
It is good.
So it's called something, right? A cream top?
Cream top.
Also not a great
I
thing for you to
know.
sip just before the photos because
Okay.
it does look like you just blew an elephant a little bit. Just
Yeah,
right here, right here.
yeah.
That's what these hands are for.
This has happened a few times. I kind of think you're doing it on purpose, Rob,
One
by
of his
bringing it.
rascally
Yeah.
moves.
What's going on up there? The shepherd. What's he doing?
What happens before the interview starts? Oh, we're all over the place. Back to
Look at this footwear that's going on.
a lot of boobs.
All three. We got
Yeah,
a
we're
lot
doing
of
pretty good.
These are from
What movie?
TV show, Kitchen Confidential. These are from 2006.
Wow.
Because I live in New York, but I still have the place here. But all the clothes are from like,
They're just getting older. and
yeah,
older.
so like I wore these Benetton women's pants that I must have worn all the time. Remember those red, almost pajama-like pants I
Oh, for
wore?
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, those were women's.
I got this when I was on a trip with my parents in 1997.
Really?
97!
Oh my God.
And they're still holding up.
Yeah, I wore them yesterday with the failure to launch Army shirt.
Oh my God.
Do you do that too, though?
Yes, I was just complaining about it. I haven't acted in a few years, so I haven't collected any new stuff.
Right.
And now it's starting to become really apparent, especially if I have to wear a suit because I'll have had suits made for the game show, but I was one way, so nothing fits me anymore. And I'm not going to fix that. I'm just
Right.
wearing stuff that doesn't fit now,
Right.
as a rule of thumb.
So everything's way too big or small.
For the last 2.5 years, everything was way too small. I would put a rubber band in the little notch
Right.
and then put it around the button for the neck of the shirt.
Oh,
You
that's
follow me? My
smart.
neck was
Yeah,
too
yeah,
thick.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I'll just be able to cover it up with a tie. But then I'd pop into the bathroom in the middle of an event and realize the tie had gotten a little loose. And you just see like my daughter's braces rubber band. I mean, it's not braces, but friendship bracelet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to be looking like in about 6 years when I continue to not collect any new clothes.
I believe we're 49.
Yeah, baby.
How's it feel?
I actually feel young. I feel like younger than I did 15 years ago. But I know it's coming because people in their 50s say, just wait, after 50, your body starts to change.
I feel healthy as I ever have. In fact, I was just thinking of you 2 weeks ago. I'm going to see how fast I can get to the very top of Griffith.
Oh, wow.
And I was remembering you doing that in Vancouver Island.
Yes.
And then I was like, I need Cooper. I have no comp. I don't know if I'm doing good or bad, right?
The fact that you could even do it is the win.
I guess.
Dude, are you kidding? I haven't done anything like that in years.
Oh, you haven't?
Oh, no. I don't run anymore.
You stay thin, though. I was
Yeah, how are
watching
you
you in
staying
Maestro,
fit?
and I thought you really.
I got
you're
super
on your
thin in
diet?
Maestro for the prosthetic. That was the best thing. Because otherwise, when you would put the stuff on your face, you almost look like a bobblehead. And then after that, I'm like 181, 182, which is great weight for me.
Yeah, probably the healthiest way.
Oh, no
for
question.
Our height. Just diet then.
Yeah, and work out in my bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like body weight stuff. You might need more clarification.
No, I have like
Sprints
this.
to the toilet.
I'll show you a photo.
Let me see a photo of me working out.
My screen's
video. A video of me working out. Let me see.
Here, I'll
What
show you my routine. This was yesterday at 9.
What do you do?
So I have a Peloton bike that I used to use a lot. I don't really now, but I like the way it looks.
Yeah, it does. It feels
It's
like
very
it let
sleek.
people know that there's
And the
an
other thing,
athlete
the
in the
huge
room.
thing is this Catalyst suit. Do you know about this?
No, tell me about that.
So this Catalyst suit that I was turned on to like 4 years ago, it's a certain method of working out where it stimulates your muscles through electric.
There's like
shock.
electro pulses.
Exactly. And it's a
Uh-huh.
20-minute workout. I've turned so many of my friends onto it. Because do you remember when I was doing Sniper, my tendons were really sore? I was like, how am I going to be able to build the arms up to match my back?
Right. Yes.
Do you remember that?
Well, you would focus very heavily on deadlifting for that.
Deadlifting my neck. Remember all the neck shit?
Yeah.
No, because he had this incredible neck, and we always wanted to shoot from the back of his neck, you know. Anyway.
The suit.
Do
You're
the suit
still
every other
actually
day.
working out.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
you're
okay.
sweating. Yeah, it's hard. And the great thing is, I just focus on my lower back and glutes because, again, as we get older, that's really the only thing that matters.
Yeah, but you already had the glutes.
I had the glutes, but not the lower back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came with glutes into this world.
I did come with the glutes into this
That's
world, yeah.
nice.
Which I've had a weird relationship with. Sometimes I've hated it, but often I'd loved it. Because basketball with Dax.
Surely. Tennis court.
Tennis court.
Let's be
yeah.
honest, though, where it really shines is the dance floor.
That's true.
I was just talking to a friend of ours about this. I didn't like my face. You didn't like yours. But I had to build a self-esteem.
That's right.
I just honed in on a couple things I had. That was my first foot forward, no matter what. You have to have known your haunches were so powerful and infectious, especially on a dance floor.
I just loved dancing, so I was shy. But for some reason, get me on that bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah dance floor,
Back up.
and I felt like I was in a place of
You're
comfort.
at home.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
And the response from gals was that no other boys were dancing. So it was like, finally I have a
At
fucking
least somebody's
thing.
dancing. That's right. Just
Yes.
the fact that we were out there meant a lot.
I try to tell young boys, like, just
Just get out there.
Get dancing. You don't have to be good.
No. In fact, it's almost better.
Yes,
Yeah.
it just says I'm a good time.
That's right.
But do you think it works the same for girls? If they're not good?
I still like it.
I think at that age, it's just about being out there and moving around.
It's a false flag of confidence because it takes a lot of confidence to get up and
Yeah.
potentially humiliate yourself. So, yeah, even if a gal's dancing objectively poorly, God bless her, look, she's confident and she's moving, that's attractive.
I just think you guys might be a little misunderstood in that you both didn't like your faces, but you had nice ones.
Okay.
And so
Go on.
Continue.
What specifically was nice about our faces?
Nice faces. And so the dancing, even if you were good or bad, it was just like, oh, that's cute because they're cute.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
but
And
I-
it could be right.
whatever the outside perspective is, what was going on, and that was one of the many things that we sort of aligned initially, is our sense of self-esteem.
That we were monsters.
And physically and all these things that we
can't.
connected to, but that maybe the general populace would be like, what are you talking about? But it didn't matter because it wasn't like this thing we told ourselves. We had a dossier of factual evidence which would
Litigating.
support that, in fact.
And that would refute. But you
Yes,
can't
but in a
see
court
that.
of law, we felt like we had a very, very good case.
Strong case.
Yes.
Yes. We didn't even need to make a final closing
No, in
argument.
fact, no.
Once we bring the gals up that didn't like us and we get them on the stand admitting
They're
they
like,
didn't.
let's settle out of court. We're like, okay, no, we're going to take this all the way.
We feel confident about the verdict on this one.
Oh, can I just say real quick?
Yeah.
They had this incredible weekend in Santa Barbara. They did this film festival and they did a retrospective and they made this montage of all this stuff. And then they showed a thing from Hit and Run, man. Yeah.
You and I screaming at each other?
It was like a moment right before that.
You driving tough?
It was so quick, but it was like me looking at you. I think it was right before the fight. Wasn't there a moment where we like just looked at each other?
Yeah, because we love each other and yeah.
Because it
It's
didn't look like hate.
unfortunate.
It didn't look like hate. Oh, and then when we shot the T-Mobile commercial, the DP did Hit and Run.
Oh, yes, of course. Brad Stone Cipher.
There's been a lot of Hit and Run memories.
Oh, that makes
And
me
you know,
so
because that was the
happy.
Limitless wig.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, and I was watching, we haven't talked in a little bit, but I've been completely turned on by reality television and I'm absolutely obsessed.
What specifically?
Well, Love on the Spectrum is the greatest show I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah.
Really loved The Golden Bachelor. That was my introduction into that world.
Monica's a big
I didn't
Bachelorette.
But I was
watch
just
that
taking in the
season.
last season of The Bachelorette. Haven't finished it, so don't tell me
Okay,
anything.
no
But they were
spoilers.
drifting, and I was thinking about you the other day.
Oh, they went on a drifting date?
Yes.
Oh, maybe I should watch The Bachelor. They've had so many years to try to wrangle everyone
I
in.
can't believe
They're
all the
finally at
seasons.
drifting.
I can't believe.
So many.
There's going to be like, they're going to have a bass angling episode or something.
True, they've done so many. Like, what else can we do?
Spelunking.
Love is Blind, my lord.
Oh,
Have you watched Love on the Spectrum?
Yes, the first season I saw several.
we watched some during the pandemic.
I'm new to it all, but wow.
It's beautiful.
Do you have a theory on why this is suddenly appealing to you? Sincerely.
It's not a theory. It's just a logistical thing.
It entered your life.
It's entered my
Yes.
life.
Okay, and you
Yes.
can't turn away.
So I entered my life and I was like, oh, this is the most incredible reflection of human behavior and social dynamics. But Love on the Spectrum, you're watching these people just move forward with their heart and mind totally open, and they're saying the very thing that we're feeling and never have the courage to say. It's like one date is the equivalent of 40 of our dates.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
Yes.
boom, let's get right down to it. How are you feeling? How's this going? I think it's going well. I'm feeling this way.
I
Me
don't like
too.
this. Well, that's
Yeah,
what always
it's
kills me is when they're
amazing.
like, no, I don't really like this. In the first few I
You know,
saw.
I'm like, yes, dude.
It's quite transparent to me why that appeals to you.
Okay.
That specifically. Because you are always on high alert for the truth. I know where mine comes from. I don't even know that I know exactly where yours comes from.
I think it comes from a similar place.
Okay, maybe charismatic, deceptive adults.
I think it's about how to survive and understand what's real as a child. What's happening because there's conflicting signs that portray different realities. How do I decipher what's real so that I can survive? So I'm going to predict what's next.
Yeah, so these folks, you're like, oh, this is it. They're going to tell me, I plan on double crossing you in 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's nuts. I find it very moving.
I struggle with it immensely.
Reality television.
No, I love it. I don't have a show currently, but I've had long periods. I love dating shows where
Yeah.
everyone's fucking. I love that.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen those
Oh,
yet.
you should watch Are You the One? That's
Oh,
the
really?
best.
Okay.
Can I lay out the premise for 2 seconds
Yeah,
for you?
yeah.
So it's 20 people, 10 hot girls, 10 hot boys. They're on some romantic location and they're just free to mix and see who they connect with. They've been told that an algorithm knows who their perfect match is. That's the buy-in, that this computer knows who their perfect match is. So then at the end of every episode, they have to pair off and declare, this is my true love. Basically, only 2 of them are right. But they've fallen in love, right? They've been fucking for a week.
Only 2 of them are right, meaning to the algorithm.
Yes.
Do we as the audience know already?
We don't know. And so they're trying now to figure out which 2 had it correct and which 8 other couples need to do-si-do and switch partners.
Whoa.
But people are already in love. There's jealousy. I mean, it's like the most
and
maniacal.
are they all living in the...
Yes, and they're
Wow.
drinking
What's it called?
heavily.
Yeah, there's a lot of drinking in all these shows.
You've got to get everyone hammered.
Yeah.
Are you the one?
Do you watch Love is Blind?
No.
Oh, because all the cups, you can't see through them, so you don't know how much they're actually drinking.
Is Love is Blind the one where they'll show a penis part?
No, Love is Blind is where they meet in pods. I think it came out of COVID
It
initially.
did.
I did see that. I did
Yeah.
see that. Okay, and then they're kind of falling in love with what you would hope they'd fall in love with.
Personality.
Their personality.
Exactly.
And then they now get to see each other.
Yes. And they just did Love is Blind Sweden, which was incredible.
Oh, was there a
What's
big
the
cultural
difference?
shift?
Yeah.
Very much so.
To the degree where there was no more engine in the show, like they don't care what each other looks like?
Just different mannerisms, different way of communicating. But they dubbed it, so I didn't like it because the voice is everything. You know, at the end of it, they do the live coming back show where find out what
yeah.
happened. And that they hadn't, I guess, had time to dub. And then all of a sudden, you're hearing their voices. It was fantastic.
Well, they hate small talk and pleasantries, which
Right.
I appreciate about them.
And they're all real handsome over there in Sweden.
Oh my God, yes. I just met our boss from Spotify and just a run-of-the-mill guy in Sweden. But here, you know, he's 6'2", broad
Right, yeah.
shoulders. He's gorgeous. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this guy's just a fucking
By the way, you look
5.
amazing, dude.
Thank you.
You look
Your eyes are
amazing.
crystal
But
clear.
really, we haven't seen each other in person. You look fucking great.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
right,
you.
doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I see him every day, but
it's
yeah.
just
Really,
kinda
you look
over
so calm and healthy. And is life good?
Yeah, life's really good.
Yeah, I
I've
could
carved
tell.
out a really crazy, impossibly good thing here.
Yeah, but I mean, just everything.
Yeah, but this kind of then informs how much free time do I have to exercise? How much free time do I have to drop my kids off at school? It goes backwards from there.
Of course. Still playing the drums?
Yeah, getting worse. That's the fucking bummer.
But still have it by
Still,
the
it's
gym?
right underneath
Yeah.
of us. Yes, I work out and then I play a little
Amazing.
bit. And then I'm like, God, it's weird. I'm getting worse.
Tell me your ritual.
The exercise?
No, just like get up in the
Oh,
morning.
great. I'd love
Yeah.
to. It's so self-indulgent. I talk about it all the time.
Oh,
So
you
I-
do? So is this
No,
redundant?
he
It's fine.
asked. He asked, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
So you've given me the blessing. I wake up 2 hours before the kids are up. Well, 2 hours before I got to drive them to school.
So 5?
No, 6. I got to leave the house at 8.
How far away is school?
2 miles. I can do it in about 9 minutes
Amazing.
if I'm punching it.
And what are we driving these days?
We drive Mom's electric Bolt there because I can do U-turns really good in front of the school and get the spot. When Mom's using her car, I'm actually resentful. I wake up, I meditate for 20 minutes. Then my reward for that is I get coffee and nicotine. And then I start journaling. I journal 1 page.
Still journaling, my God.
Yeah, won't quit. Well, I quit for a minute and then I started doing opiates. It turns out they were very linked. And then I minimally have to write a page of prose. So I'm writing a memoir by hand. And then it's poopy time.
Because we've got nicotine and coffee in us.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're hammering that.
Yeah.
And then we get on the commode, and the girls start filing in. They start chatting with me, and it's amazing. They don't care.
Is this a Togo commode?
Brondel, but same thing. So there's a heat.
Yeah, yeah.
I do my posting for this show at that moment. Like if
Okay.
it's a Monday, I put up the guest. And then the girls start coming in and out. And I wonder, is this the same with Leah where they can sit and talk to me like a foot away from me? And it's terrible in there.
My bedroom is the bathtub and the toilet, the bed are all in the same room.
Yeah.
So it's 24/7, dude.
Yeah, you can't even walk out of the bathroom and get over.
There are no doors, dude.
And do you find she doesn't
There's
care?
no door in my bedroom.
There's no door to the
No,
bathroom?
the
No.
stairs go up and it's all in one floor.
Wow.
Yeah, let it rip. Just move from zone to zone. God, I would love that actually, because again, I'm moving through these little steps.
Right.
But do you find that your daughter doesn't care at all?
Oh,
that
yeah, no. We talk where I'm on the toilet, she's in the bathtub. That's sort of the go-to.
I have a great biological question surrounding this. Is it your genes that makes you not care, or is it just the nurture of it all? It's insane
They
that
must
they
not
don't
be able
care.
to smell it. There must be something
what's
pheromonal.
here's what's interesting. I didn't grow up that way
Right.
at all.
No.
I don't think I ever saw my father on the toilet until he got sick. Like ever in my life.
We could have 100 conversations. I need 6 hours. I got to talk about nudity with a daughter. So it's like, we're the Swedish style or German. Like, we're naked all the time.
Me too. And by the way, I was like that, not with my mom, but my dad.
He
My
was
dad
always nude.
and always took showers with him.
There was no,
It was just
no,
the
no
pooping.
evacuations,
Yeah, yeah.
but showering was fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're quite comfortable nude.
Totally.
Okay. Then I take the kids to school. Then I work out. Then I research, or research, then work out. One of the two. Probably research first. And then I try to squeeze a workout in. And then we come up here and
So 2
record.
workouts.
No. I said the order wrong. I would always research first because I can't drop that. And then I'll work out. And then we generally record at 11 for the first time.
And meditation happens where in this area?
Oh, in my bed.
So you sort of sit up?
Yes. If Kristen's sleeping with the girls, I can do that. If she's not, I wake up, I make my coffee, I bring it to the other middle bedroom, and then I meditate in there on the bed.
Sitting up.
Yes. And I've added cross-legged to it all.
Oh, you have.
Me too.
When did this start?
I'm like this.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
By the way,
Wow.
I know this is crazy.
You do
this
the
is crazy,
hands
but
thing?
I do because
You are supposed
I
to.
feel that there's a difference. It feels like there's not one circuitous.
I got you.
Yeah, it's supposed to
It's
be
like,
connected
boom.
at all areas.
right.
That's
like
why
you're
I thought of,
breaking
like,
up.
skadoosh. You know, that's what made me think of it.
There's something circular about it when you do
Yes.
that. A loop of energy.
That's what it feels like.
I got to add that I sit like this because I feel like it's going in a loop around my arms. Guys, I'm crossing my hands and setting them in my lap.
You know, I'm doing this sort of like.
Touching your ring fingers with your thumb.
Yeah.
It's the original position
Yeah.
that the Indians
OP,
made that. up.
original position.
Yeah,
They invented that.
The thing is never to rest your head against anything, obviously.
Yeah.
When did you start crossing your legs? Because anatomically, I couldn't cross my legs 3 years ago.
I started like this. This is how I used to meditate.
You look like a schoolboy at his desk
Yeah,
right now,
yeah.
for the listener.
Then I stopped meditating for a couple years. And I think when I started back up, that's how it started. And I always go to the roof in the West Village where I live. That's where I sort of try to go.
Even in the winter.
Even in the winter.
Better in the winter?
Well, it's interesting because I bundle up and then there's no chairs there because it's just a 450 square foot little area and I have a little plot of grass and you haven't seen it.
Yeah, I have.
The very, very top,
I was in the backyard. I was in the bathroom / toilet
put like
/
That bedroom.
just a tiny little deck.
Okay, lovely. Do you have mats you sit on though?
No, it's just wood. So I just sit on
That's
wood.
so much tougher.
So that's why I had to evolve
Yes.
because there was no chair.
I'm so jealous right now because I'm leaning against, not my head, but my low back has got some pillows behind
Yeah,
it.
my lower back, there's grass, wood, and then I have wood on the wall.
Okay, so you're up against the wall. Fuck. Because I was starting to think you were full David Carradine style.
No. That would be really
support.
hard, dude.
I know.
This happens a lot. That I'll be mid meditation and I'm down here.
You slowly start drooping into the ground. Yes. I tell myself, you cannot think about this and also lift your head backwards.
That's right. That's what I always do. I'm like, oh, where am I? Oh, okay. How did my head get down to my chest?
Okay, is that first thing? You don't have any caffeine before then, do you?
No, so what I do is similar. It's like all predicated on when do I have to get Leah up. So depending if my mom is visiting from Philly, Leah loves sleeping with her all the way downstairs. And we have 3 dogs. So first it's the dogs.
Oh my God.
The dogs are at 4:50 to 5 a.m. Walk down the stairs, so it's 6 flights down.
Oh my God.
5.5, yeah.
No wonder you're not hiking. You don't need to.
Take them out to the bathroom, feed them, go back up to bed, try to catch another hour if I can. I always push the limits. God bless our school. Leah's always like, tiny late.
Sure.
And we live a block away.
Well, the closer you are, the harder it is.
The morning ritual is probably my favorite part of the day.
And it gives you so much self-esteem, right?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because there's a game-changing element to it.
Okay.
Hit my knees right away. Same prayer for the last 20.
Third step and 10 steps.
Serenity, Our Father, and then a list of people. That grows.
Really quick. All this is our isms, right? So it's like, we got to meditate. No, we got to sit more properly. No, we got to do this. And then the list is growing.
Yeah, that prayer must take like
It's madness.
45 minutes.
The last
at
year
this-
of your life will be making that prayer. And you'll have to add your name right as you die.
And me, us. And people have died that were in that prayer.
Sure. And then does it hit you emotionally or no? Sometimes no, sometimes yes.
I'm always aware of it. 2 of them have died.
Is Charlotte's name in there?
No, I don't pray
Shout
for the
out.
dogs.
Oh,
That's
a
interesting.
Well, Charlotte, I don't think you should pray for dogs, but
Yeah.
maybe Charlotte.
Yeah, well, Charlotte was like a human.
Yes. Your girlfriend, right?
Yeah, really.
Let's be dead on. Let's call it what
No,
it
but I would
was.
also be like, Dax, look at her. No, Dax, look at her. That's a beautiful woman.
I sometimes felt like I was interrupting things.
Speaking of, if I was in a relationship with someone who had a prayer like that,
Yeah.
I would be obsessed with finding out if I was in that list.
Oh, sure.
It
You
would
know what's
drive
really
me
nuts
nuts.
is like in the 20 years I've been doing it, I think maybe I've missed like 5 days.
Wow, that's great.
Do you have a bit of a superstition like I do about the journal and sobriety? That's
Not
the
to stay
cornerstone
sober,
of it?
but I do feel like there's no better way to wake up and start thinking about other people.
Yeah, because the rest of the day I'm going to be thinking about myself.
Exactly. Everything is about, yeah, it's like,
Smart.
let's start it off. Let's at
give
least
it a
get ahead of
shot.
that.
Before we can even find today's obsession, let's make room for some other humans on planet Earth.
But do you worry it will turn into a pathology? Because I used to do a prayer at night. It became bad. Because if I didn't do it or I was forgetting something, it would become a problem. So I just dropped the whole thing.
There's something about the physical action of getting on your knees and putting your head down on your bed. That physical action alone feels so deferential in a beautiful way.
Again, it might be your only moment of humility.
You know,
That's
it
true,
really
that's
is like to
true.
start out like that. It's so part of like breathing now. I don't really even think about it. So that, dogs, back to bed, and then I put a cold plunge in the basement of where I live.
Dude, I thought you were about to say your bedroom. And I was going to fucking laugh. So this is becoming a Korean spa in there with like a bed in the corner.
There's like no room to move. So I jump in the cold plunge every single morning for 3 minutes. And every day I don't want to do it. Every day I'm in bed, I'm like, I don't need to do it. And I force myself to walk downstairs and it's cold outside. You know, it's cold in the house.
yeah.
And I'm like, how am I going to do this? And then I do it, set the little timer on the phone, 3 minutes. I'm so happy when the alarm. And then I feel so fulfilled. I could literally go to bed and that's the end of the day.
Same.
That's the level of fulfillment.
I do too, but I'm only about 3 days a week. I have so many goddamn routines in the morning that is like I have
Those are
a
so similar.
I know,
Yes.
It's crazy.
it's a shocking we can be friends.
It is really crazy.
Our birthdays are a month apart.
Oh, our sobriety birthdays.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
always
we're like
mix
5
that up.
days
Yeah,
apart.
our birthdays,
3 days
are
apart.
3 days apart. Yeah.
Both born deaf, just
Yeah.
to remind
Yeah.
everyone.
What are the ways in
Both
that?
think we're ugly.
I know, I can't.
Both trying to get all the
thing
approval
is-
in the world. If everyone could line up neatly and just walk up to us and say, you're good, and then turn to the left.
But then don't forget, you got to come back and say it again
Yes,
in 10
'cause
minutes.
I probably won't believe it. 30 seconds after you left, it'll feel
Just a
obligatory.
rotating
In
line.
fact, if you could write it out, it'd be easier for me to.
You have that. You're an approval junkie.
Honestly, I think I've grown a lot in the last 3 years.
That's great. Was there an impetus for that?
Yeah, getting older and realizing there's certain parts of me that have really needed serious work about intimacy with people, women specifically, like being in a like real healthy relationship. And also because I'm a father and I'm like, I just want to, the least amount of damage that I could do to my daughter, please let me work on myself. And it's all just getting older and people dying and mortality.
Time's accelerating.
That's the currency. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing but time. And I think being at a place where I felt like I was willing to go to those places, and a dear friend turned me on to this incredible therapist that like changed my life. And really realizing the problem was I had no self-esteem. I think that when I came on before we talked about this, which was years ago now, I think it was not recent.
It wasn't. It was
What
at
would you have been
least 2
promoting?
years ago.
You would have been promoting.
I don't think it
the
was.
Guillermo movie.
So it
It
wasn't
was.
that long ago.
Yeah. When was that?
Well,
2021,
2021.
November 2021.
I thought
It was
Okay, so 2
Thanksgiving.
years. 2
Okay,
years,
I thought
2
it was
months.
more than that. Okay.
Yeah, we're okay.
A lot
Yeah.
happened.
Everything's okay. We can.
It does feel like a long time ago.
I was maybe like a year into it at that point. Self-esteem. And it all stemmed from, I don't know if you feel this, but creating a narrative about my upbringing that wasn't really my upbringing. So I was starting it all on a false premise
Interesting.
of like, I'm from Philly. I thought I was like a beautiful kid and they thought I was a girl and I had a chip on my shoulder and had loving parents. That's actually not exactly the situation.
Yeah.
So if you're starting it out, and also Dax and I connected early on about our childhoods to a huge degree and our relationships to our fathers and all this stuff.
Our mothers.
Of course, our
We're like
mothers.
our mother's husbands.
Yes.
And we are the golden child
That's
that was
right.
going to be minimally president.
But I guess that was part of my false narrative to a degree too. Was that all it was, or was there more?
I'm writing this memoir. Doesn't need to be published.
Right.
I'm writing it so I can get that version that I'm so afraid to lose out of my head. It'll be there. If I ever want to revisit it, it'll exist. That's my action of letting it go.
Wow.
There's the story I've been telling for my whole life. And now we're going to just set that over there.
Yeah.
And maybe my dad was a beautiful guy and maybe he was a loving,
Human.
well, and also like physically nurturing, a hugger and a kisser. Who got that in the 80s? All this new information's coming in that's like, And my mom, I love her to death. She's also not the angel she was in my story.
That's right.
Nor should she be. And that's my fault.
It's not fair to
It's not
her.
her
That's exactly right.
responsibility. Yeah, I have no resentment over it. It's just like, wow, I had a really
Well, I
clean
used to.
story.
I used to, not even knowing it, because that's how the behavior, I just found myself adrift. And starting with the real foundation.
Which again, let's be honest, is just another one.
Yes.
I might reject the notion that there's a real one. It's just, there's all this data. It's just
Yes.
infinite data of your childhood.
Well, it's all a story we're telling ourselves.
Exactly.
That's
and
for
what
sure.
one serves you.
In a feeling state, at least, I can tell when I'm more present, when I'm not, as a human
Right.
being in my life. When I started to do this work of reevaluating the foundation of my life and trying to look at it with a more critical eye on honesty and reflecting on true memory, I found that the benefit is I'm much more present in my life. I don't need the things I thought I needed to fill up whatever hole I had. And all of a sudden, I'm willing to be more expressive, creative, present, giving, boundaried.
Yeah.
So to me, yes, it's another story, but it felt like, boy, it's way closer to something honest because the benefits are practical. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. For me, I guess the thing I try to be critical of is the story is immaterial. Is the story serving to either excuse my character defects, justify me getting the things I want, or somehow setting up a situation where you'll be even more impressed by me because you know the story. So if the story has these kind of like self-serving gross motives, which most of my story does, I'm trying to self-aggrandize myself and seem like a victim and a victor at the same time. When I recognize that that's actually the purpose of the story, I think that's more what I'm currently honed in on. I could also tell that I had the luckiest childhood that anyone's ever had. There's enough data points for me to point to these.
Well, relatively
impossi-
speaking, we're already in the stratosphere on that benchmark. But what's the goal? Why are we doing this? And the goal for me was I want to be able to be more of service to people in my life and then me also. And I wanted to stop living in my head so much, really, so that I could be present. And I wanted to love myself, like in a real way.
Yeah.
And then through that, all of a sudden, boundaries just came up that I could never create in relationships.
What do those look like?
My relationship with my mother completely
Oh,
changed.
boundaryless. Yeah.
Like completely. My relationship to
It's
friendships.
your
my
bedroom
daughter.
is your bed, your shitter, your mother.
3 dogs.
Does she respect the bound? Like, does she
Oh,
like that they're
Here's the thing that occurs, and I don't know if you have felt this with your mother, but it all just effortlessly falls into place because the bottom line is I'm finally an adult.
Yeah.
Right.
Do I fall back into adolescent and childlike feelings and behaviors? Absolutely. But my baseline is an adult. Whereas before, my baseline was adolescence. When I was in a good space, I could live in the adult world for a little bit, but that wasn't my norm.
Well, and
Yeah.
Bradley, that's why work is so appealing to us, is that you have all the evidence of adulthood through work.
Because grown-ups work.
Yeah, and grown-ups execute.
And talk about there's boundaries. You're walking into a systematic, very clear
There's a start time and a wrap
hierarchy
time.
and everything. I definitely have escaped in work before.
Yeah, because it feels like a very adult thing.
Yeah. Well, and being a parent is a very adult thing too that can be misleading.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I wanted to ask you this when you were talking about being a father. I wonder if you've had this realization or thought, which is, it's not a realization, that would imply it's implicitly true. Have you had this thought? Girls grow up and marry their dads and boys grow up and marry their moms. So my daughters are going to go try to find me. Holy fuck. I better be like the most spectacular version of myself. I want them going out and shopping for the one that's not deceptive or duplicitous or lying.
I think about that a lot in terms of how does my relationship with my daughter impact her growth and the journey she's going to be on, and specifically romantically in life, wherever intimacy finds her. I've clocked that she's going to be 7 in March. You know my relationship with my dad.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time with him. I think I've already logged more hours with my daughter than I did with my dad his entire life.
Yeah, same.
So
Yeah.
that alone is
Yeah.
bonkers.
Were they divorced?
No, it wasn't like I was estranged from my dad.
Yeah.
But the sheer just amount of time that my daughter and I have hung out is bonkers. I just can feel the safety that she feels. It's so tangible.
palpable,
It's
yeah.
palpable. That is so fulfilling. And again, this foundation that you and I created, manifested in order to justify the needs that we had growing up, was all based on living in an environment where we had to survive to understand what was real, right? I was playing a game my whole childhood, a survival game.
Why?
Because things were not as what they seemed. Growing up with alcoholism in a family is a very specific way to grow up. What you think is real, you find it isn't real, and it's earth-shattering. It's like finding out that we're living in some sort of metaverse. You know, it's like that kind of macro. You're not human. You're not breathing right now. So as a kid, you're like, wait, that's not my dad? Who's my dad? What the heck's happening? All you do is dissect behavior like a scientist to try to understand what's real. So to be able to have a child not grow up that way,
Not monitoring your every movement to try to predict what's next.
wow. I want her to have as much as she can a foundation that's like 25 feet thick cement that she can walk on this earth with. That's the goal.
Of course. And do you find yourself having conversations with her, lying in bed or whatever, and then you leave and you go like, oh yeah, I didn't ever have a conversation like that.
All the time. Every conversation. Her ability to articulate her feelings at 6 years old.
Same. My daughters can do a 4-step in like 30 seconds.
By the way, no question. Her mother and I are bawled over at this human being that we're raising that is able to articulate. And by the way, in her voice, like I don't even think I even found what my speaking voice was really
Right.
like until like a couple years ago.
Right.
You know, I'm like, I think I'm lowering it a little. It's okay. I have a sort of higher, it's all right, just be me.
Sure, it's fine. Someone will love me.
Or more importantly, I will.
Yes. Yes.
Our 9-year-old will have an enormous, she swears, which I love. I'll hear like, you're not the fucking queen of this place to her sisters. She can let a fuck rip and it's great. And she doesn't do it often. But anyways, she can go for it. And then like 15 minutes later, she'll come and be like, I got really scared you weren't going to include me in that thing. So I tried to hurt you back, but I never feel
I
good
mean,
when I try to hurt you. I'm like,
it is
oh my God, I was like
crazy.
38. I'd been in AA for fucking 9 years before I figured out how to get
I mean,
halfway
it's
there.
Unbelievable.
Oh, it's so
And by the way,
awesome.
thank goodness they're armed with that because the world now is so much more complicated than it was when we were growing up. And the access to information, everyone's opinion.
Yeah, we just didn't hear it. We were making up terrible stories about everyone's opinion, but they actually hear it.
I remember being like 12 years old and hear the term corruption. And I remember like, what's corrupt? I didn't even know what like corruption was. Like, what does that mean? Asking my dad that. I remember driving down Broad Street. It was on like the news or something. Dad, what is that? I feel like our children are exposed to the realities of human behavior and how septic it can be, and just globally what's going on. We just have so much information. It's hard for me to even be able to compute it and be able to keep moving on as a person throughout the day, to grow up with that's the norm. I'm so glad that our children have that articulation about their feelings so that they can live in some sort of calm
equilibrium.
nature.
Yeah, you got to wonder, like, chicken or the egg, maybe it's already just completely required. Like, again, we didn't change and evolve until we were forced to. And it's almost like they have to already have found that.
No question.
Or they would be miserable.
This is all they know. But boy, it wasn't like that.
Isn't it? I mean, it is. People get sick of me. I sound like a proselytizer. I'm always...
Being a parent?
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not sure I'd be alive if I wasn't a dad. I don't know.
What would have happened?
I
think
mean,
you'd be alive.
I
I
don't
think
know.
you'd just be fucking...
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think I'd be alive, but I also think...
Do you?
Yeah. I don't think I could have ever achieved real self-esteem.
Oh,
without
no
them.
question.
That's really what
And
it
don't you
is.
think at 49 with no self-esteem, that's pretty
Scary.
It's bleak.
Yes.
Yeah.
With your makeup?
Yeah. Was I going to
that's
make it to
pretty
80?
scary.
No. All the things I chased to get that feeling that was not going to be obtained through any other way than this. For me. Other people get there for sure. I see it all the time. There's tons of childless people.
Of course. I'm just talking about my
specific
experience.
isms.
Yeah. I just needed someone to say, like, we're going to drop this massive anchor. And I'm like, why? We're speeding. I just got an upgrade on the boat, and I know where the wind's coming in.
Yeah.
They're like, no. There's a tsunami coming, and you need an anchor, and we're going to drop it. Because this is going to dictate everything you're going to do from now on. Your DNA is going to tell you that there's something more important than you. I remember the first time I realized, because everyone's like, I would die in a second for my kid. I'm always like, if I'm being honest, I don't know. Like the first like 8 months, I'm like, I don't even know if I really love the kid.
We don't know her
It's
yet.
dope. It's cool. I'm watching this thing morph. And then all of a sudden.
I love that honesty, by the way.
That's my experience.
That's a lot of people's, I think, and they're afraid to say that.
I mean, my experience was totally that. Fascinated by it. Love taking care of it. Would I die if someone came in with a gun? It's only a couple of months. I don't know. I got a lot to
She just arrived. She hasn't even had any drinks.
I'm not
Let's see-
committed
let's see how
yet.
she is
I
in
don't
3
know.
hours.
She could be an asshole.
A psychopath.
I could be doing you a favor.
Who knows?
And then all of a sudden, it's like, no question. That knowledge alone.
For me, the thing is, I spent 38 years evaluating had I gotten enough love. Who didn't give me enough love? Who should have given me more love? Who should have been more of service to me? That was my only analysis. I was never asking, like, well, how many people have you loved? How many people have you
Interesting.
committed your resources to? How much have you given? And I think having them forced me to flip the equation around, which is like my goal now is to give as much as I could. And then, of course, ironically, and against what I would have guessed, I feel the most love by giving it. I don't feel that love by receiving it. Whether I'm broken or that's human, I don't know. But it's like, you can give me a lot of love and it does work for a minute, but ultimately it doesn't. But the giving it, it's the self-esteem thing. It's like, no, that's actually foundational and permanent. You can't take away the 11 years I've given to Lincoln. I can feel your love for me go away quite easily.
That's right.
It's like the first permanence. Also, how about looking in a woman's eyes and going, I love you forever, for real, and I'm never going anywhere, for real. No matter how you act, what you are, I had not had that sensation before them.
Yeah, the word unconditional.
It actually means something.
Yes.
Yes. And I don't say that I don't love Kristen and won't be there
No,
for her, but
it's
it's
a
like
totally
Kristen
different thing.
could do enough stuff that I would be out. That's also a reality. There are conditions to my love and marriage.
But tell me this, even what you've already been through, and I'm just speaking hypothetically, you probably would have been out. The old guy.
Sure, if you lined them up at the beginning and said, here's what's coming your way,
Right.
I would have been like, oh, keep shopping.
No, there's a sense of ease. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like I'm a different person because it was always predicated on the behavior that could be happening right now. Like, I could be in and out. Let's see what you got. Because I'll be
Yes.
out in 2 seconds. In fact, you're always looking for it.
Right.
What a horrible place for the other person to
Oh.
be in.
I know.
What a horrendous place. Again, to bring it back to The Bachelor.
Yeah, let's go.
And you can see people that are living that way. In fact, I was watching an episode last night, and I was
this.
commenting on, like, I could see that person is talking to the other person in a way of like, What are you going to do? Because I'm out in 2 seconds.
Yeah. I'd like to be here, but
Yeah,
I'm also
but-
so scared.
But I'm not even showing you that I'm scared. I'm showing you that are you the person that you're
Are you good enough for me?
Are you good enough? Yeah.
And no one's good enough for you because you're not good enough for you.
I mean, I would never be so bold to say what that person's feeling, but I related to it in the way that I have been, without even knowing it. But now I look back and think, what a horrible thing to put people through.
Yeah.
And we've dealt with this in our friendship. You shared with me that you felt like you've had to walk on eggshells with me in periods of our friendship. And I think that's what that was about to a degree. But I didn't even realize it.
Yeah, I've had the feeling like he's trying to figure out how I'm screwing him over, and it's very stressful.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know how to say I don't have any ill intentions for you.
It breaks my heart that I put you through that.
Well, I've put you through. This is how they work, the friendships.
No, it's true.
But back to the women, I guess this is where, too, the narrative, this is where it served me is I do have conditions romantically. I actually kind of stand by that. You can't be a raging addict hosting orgies in front of our kids and think you're going to live with me in this house. But I do think this is where the story is corrosive is I've been married since I was born to a woman. And that woman brought people around. And I have pledged to myself, because I love myself, I won't be along for the ride of a woman I love. And so that's the baggage I carry to previous relationships. Is like, I'm waiting for you to behave in a way that maybe my mom did that I've pledged to myself I won't tolerate ever again. Do you feel like you've been married to your mom since you were born?
No question that my relationship to my mother is a massively profound element of my makeup in life. But my relationship to my mother is so different than yours to your mother.
I agree.
One of the foundations that I didn't realize was the lack of intimacy in my life as a kid. And that seeking out intimacy was part of what I wanted because I felt so alone. That was a narrative I didn't even know because I grew up the miracle kid, and then they get children. All of a sudden, I looked like a beautiful girl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole thing, chip on my shoulder from Philly, all that stuff.
Right.
It's like, wait a second. What was the
What's
reality?
actually
Yeah.
happened?
You were shy as shit, dude. You were alone a lot. And part of that bored imagination, which thank goodness I've been able to put into art.
We would both agree, right? I'm eternally grateful for my childhood.
Oh.
I'm exactly
yes.
where I want to
Let's
be.
be clear.
I wouldn't change an element.
Me neither. We always talk about this. Being addicted to cocaine, greatest gift of my life.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think I would have gotten sober. If it was just
Right.
alcohol, I think I would have carried the lineage of my predecessors and I'd be
Made it
50.
work.
I'd be a dad thinking that drinking's fine. And then one day my daughter would see me the way I saw my dad, and who knows what I would do.
Yeah, then it all blows up. Okay, this is really perfect foundation for Maestro.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
First of all, obviously, it's really, really well made.
You did it again.
Really
Congratulations.
perfectly acted. Everything's great. Very unique tone that's consistent over 3 different film stocks. And all of that is really impressive. The opening line is great art will create more questions than it answers in a nutshell. And this man, who I know nothing about, Leonard Bernstein, I'm so fucking mad at. I hate his fucking guts. I hate him so much. It's so personal watching this, which again is a testament to how fucking great it is. I finished it. My first knee jerks are like, why even make a movie about a guy like that? I mean, when he looks at his daughter and lies, I wanted to fucking go through the screen and kill him.
Because you wanted him to tell the truth?
Yes, and I'll get to what it's all about. But this morning while journaling, I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, it's all a continuum. I'm on that continuum. I am Leonard Bernstein. I want glory. I want to be seen as special. I want to have a skill that's rare. I want to be adored. I want to indulge all of my carnal whimsies, but also have the love of my children and my wife. I want to be a selfish monster, and I want to create some kind of art or product that will excuse all my shittiness. And I always hate the people that are most like me. That's who I hate the most. That's who fucking gets me enraged. And I am in such judgment of other people that have what I have. I don't think I'm Leonard Bernstein, but I think I'm on the continuum. And I think I fight being him. And so for me, of course, the one moral high ground I have is that I would never look at my daughters and deny the reality they witnessed. And so that was the moment where I'm like, well, he's a piece of fucking shit. And I'm not. And then I woke up and I journaled this morning.
But I have a question. That scene, what did you think was going on with him in that scene? Do you think it was hard for him to lie to her?
I think it was really hard for him to lie to her. And I think he told himself he was doing it for his wife. And I think maybe you, even as an actor, were doing it for your wife. But then go one step further. The wife only has to deal with this humiliation of having sold out her feminism, and she's afraid to be in front of her daughter a bad model of what a woman should respect herself for because of you. So sure, you kicked it down the road and said, I'm lying to protect my wife. But really, the reason your wife needs you to lie is because of you. He didn't get out of jail for me in that scene. Does that make any sense?
It wasn't for the wife, I don't think. I mean, it was, but it was for her.
Well,
Sometimes
no,
lying.
But he said, I want to tell her. She's old enough. She's smart enough. And then the wife was like, you can't.
But then when he's sitting with her, I think it was for her. I don't think it was in service of the wife.
Well, I could tell you what was going on because I
Yeah.
remember that very. No. I mean, going on with me.
This
as
is so
Lenny.
great, though, that Monica and I always have debates.
Yeah,
it's
and
rare
you're
that you can
sitting right
turn
there.
to the person who knows the truth.
No, but I don't know the truth. I don't know the truth. I mean,
Right.
that's the thing. I don't know the truth at
Right.
all. Meaning, I don't even know the truth about the actual conversation that occurred, or even like the truth of what is the movie.
Yes.
And by the way, I don't know if I even shared this with you, but throughout the process of making the movie, I went through the same machinations that you just described about him. I was like, fuck this guy. I'm an idiot. Why am I spending all this time dedicated to an asshole? And it was only because I'm like, oh no, he's reflecting all the shit that terrifies me about myself.
Dude, it's one of the most brutal mirrors I've ever
You know,
stared
and it's
into.
like, oh shit. And if I want to try to approach this without acting, really go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be anchoring it to the things in you.
Exactly. And in that moment, I remember so well because I tried to get it to have two cameras, but the composition I couldn't. So we actually shot separately the sides.
Because you're in 4:3 at that point still?
Yeah, 1-3-3.
So you don't have the width to do dueling overs.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do French overs. I could have
Right.
done it if I did French
Too
overs.
intimate.
It was like the movies showing that we're hiding, and I don't want it to be that way. It's supposed to be like I'm actually revealing.
You almost want it straight down the barrel in this moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't want the audience to be behind them. I want them to be in
No
between
safety,
them.
no
No
safety.
safety. No distance. We're distant in other moments where we're peeking in, you know, when they're fighting and we're like, what's going on? But now, no, we're in the middle. This is a reckoning. It was so hard for me to lie to her.
Oof.
Every element of my body was saying, this goes against everything I believe.
As Bradley.
As Lenny and Bradley.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you guys
I
are
mean,
in concert there.
You know, when she says I'm relieved,
Exactly.
and I'm going, oh, fuck.
No.
I can't teach you this. Relieved about what? You're basically going to live through the constructs that have been dictated to us. Because early in the movie, the reason why he talks to Felicia, he's like, you're like me. I could tell you have this accent that's kind of, I can't place, but your father's American, but you grew up in Chile. You lied about coming to New York to say piano, but it's acting. We're the same person because the world wants us to be one thing. And I find that fucking deplorable. And I actually find you attractive. You know, remember in college, even when we first started hanging out, we spoke, like we just kept
Like we were
talking.
gacked up without gack.
Yeah, yes, dude. It's because you're so excited to meet a like-minded person.
Yeah.
That was like his anchor. Yes, the world won't accept me, but I'll never put out this fire. And this fire eventually burns everything down.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
yes,
We can get
yes.
to that in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah, yeah.
But in that moment, I would never say that really is Lenny, but that character, Lenny, it fucking killed him to lie to her.
Yeah, you could
Right.
tell.
Because the one thing he could hold on to was his identity of an unabashedly honest human being in a world that's trying to put him in a different category, which is the most selfish if you think about it.
Also, but it's the only time we've seen his own behavior actually catch up with him.
That's
he
true.
sees it affect other people.
He has to curtail his own way of living. So that was a fascinating scene to experience.
I think it's the most powerful scene in the movie.
I think it's funny that you two projected those feelings, like you were so angry at him, because when I watched it, I felt so bad for him.
I felt anger in the preparation. I didn't feel any anger towards him while I was filming it.
Because life is so complex and people are so complex, and he's just one person caught up in this complexity. And I believe that he can have all these feelings all at once and that the world doesn't allow for that, but that's his truth. And how do you reconcile that? So for me, I was just like, oh, life is so hard.
What I like about it is it exposes our own things. So there would have been another character that would have been doing something that's one of your flaws in character,
Right,
and
that's
you
what
would be
I'm saying.
irate.
Yeah.
And I would be like, again, I've overcome snorting cocaine. So when I see people snorting cocaine, I'm not like those losers. They need to get their shit together. I just have compassion and I get it. 6 months sober? I was like, these motherfuckers never going to get their shit together. You know, I don't have that issue anymore. But I think it's just so funny. And then it's so obvious to me why you and I have the same reaction and interest in this is that we got a lot of feelings about someone that acts like that. I don't have a lot of feelings about Carrie. She might have been flawed throughout this, and she probably did things that if you were a codependent or someone that lost your identity to another person, you'd be in such great judgment of her the whole movie. I wasn't, because that's not the fucking dragon I'm battling every night in bed.
Dragon's the right word. That's what she calls him.
Right.
You're a dragon. And that's part of it. He's like, oh, you see me and you love me?
Yeah.
You know I'm a dragon? And you're kissing me?
Yeah.
That's why that first scene when they're rehearsing, that's what she says to him.
When he's playing the king. And
Yes,
she's playing,
exactly.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to be with someone who sees you and loves you? So I could do anything I want? And then there's the tragic flaw.
And again, you evaluate your life. It's the great relapse fantasy. It's like, I can do it this way. And as long as the other people don't know, that'll be a success. I just can keep it from everybody. And you ignore the fact that you'll never keep it from yourself. His behavior comes home to roost in that scene with his daughter, irregardless of the other people around him, whether he's kept it on the rails or not.
And you're right, no matter whether it was that moment in his life or another, it was going to come back to roost, like you said.
And also the duality of he's also teaching and helping. No one's good or bad.
Part of what she said seeped in, because be kind to him. Those are the last words she says to her daughter, basically, in the movie. Kindness, kindness, kindness.
Yeah.
So something did seep through.
I mean, of course, you're always evaluating whether someone's doing just enough good stuff to excuse their bad stuff. Like just keeping their own self-esteem in homeostasis. 2 for you, 1 for me. I've certainly been guilty of 2 goods, and now I've earned something for me. The other, for me, genius element was I have no reverence for conductors. Full honesty, I have been to the symphony. I'm watching the guy with the baton, and I'm watching the musicians, and I'm like, they don't ever look at this guy. This is like, I'm wrong.
No, you're not.
Kristen explained the whole thing
but you're
to me.
not. That does occur.
Okay. So for me, it was such a wonderful exposure of my own priorities and things I value, which is he's getting so much love and affection for this thing that a Dax Shepard thinks is almost fraudulent. Really, you spin this thing around, that's such an accomplishment. That's worthy of worship and praise. And it's preposterous that that little tiny thing he does would excuse anything. And then I go, yeah, and my things are just as preposterous. I too have a stupid thing I do. Does that make any sense?
Yes, that's really
I
interesting.
mean, it was very helpful that this character was such a legend in something that I didn't personally
But he also
ever.
composed.
Now, had you done a rock star or a film director or a race car driver, I would have been trapped in a little bit of, yes, this is a worthy pursuit and does justify some shit. You do have to dedicate yourself to your thing in a manner that alienates other people. But because I could find no purchase in the things he excelled at, that actually like is a gift to me. Because it pointed out
You couldn't
how
excuse
equally
it.
preposterous the things I value are. And that there isn't a hierarchy in it. It's just you do something great and you hope you won't have to play by any rules because you do something great.
100%.
It got me fucking revved up.
I'm glad.
Really, really good.
Yeah, it got
really
me
well done.
really,
Wow.
really revved up. Like it took me all night to sleep on it and then to journal about it this morning. Because I was even thinking like, what am I going to talk to Cooper about? What is my angle? And other than the obvious things, like I said, it's fucking perfectly made. I didn't know how I felt emotionally about it. And then once I was journaling, I'm like, oh, I know exactly how I feel about this. This is the kind of person I hate because this is the side of me I hate.
The reason I did the movie, one of the reasons in terms of focusing on him and investigating this person, is that in the research, and we talk about elements of ourselves in him, but this guy lived his life in all of those aspects you're saying at 100.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that
Right.
one human being was able to, with such abandon, embody all of the hypocrisies and contradictions of the human experience in his lifetime was mind-blowing to me. No wonder he died at
He
72.
went full throttle.
Full throttle from 13 years old till 72. Right. Started smoking when he was 13, ashtrays in the bathtub. Couldn't sleep, by the way. Total insomniac. Add that to the equation.
Yeah.
Asthmatic.
He was probably feeling physically terrible while also pushing through.
I mean, if he was healthy, he would have lived to like 130. You know, and I talked to his
Right,
kids
yeah,
about
the
it. I was like, what happened to his
vitality.
brain? Because, drank a lot. The guy just devoured. He was a dragon.
Yes, yes. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
And they were like, his brain was sharp as a tack till he died. It's like God gave him everything. Let's see how the human experience works on this human being when they have everything. Beautiful, charismatic, effortlessly, totally present. If you watch interviews with him, he reminds me of Michael Jordan. There's like no inner monologue. It's just, you're asking him a question and he's answering it. His sense of self, whatever that thing is that he was given, is so concrete and ebullient. for others to be around. That's why everybody I interviewed said, like, well, when he walked in the room, it's what you hear about Clinton, the energy changes. If he looks at you, you're like, I'm seen.
You're the only person
These are
in the room.
massive weapons. To explore this guy that reflects to various degrees in all of us, he embodied everything at a 10. I thought, this is interesting. That was the thought.
I do believe the more I sit on it, because as you just say that, like massive arsenal. What human is going to navigate that with total morality at all times? That's a lot. To have that effect on people and to not enjoy that and to not want to live in that permanently.
I mean, think about it. A guy brought a gun to school to kill him, a student, because he couldn't take that this person was living.
Yeah.
Because it reflected how less than he was and that his teacher strangled him during a rehearsal. Those things happened. One of the things I realized was that I'd never tell my daughter is like, you hurt my feelings, ever. Because a kid can't hurt an adult's feelings. That's too much power to give them. Because when I was a kid and I heard that I was causing acid to run down my grandfather's esophagus, right? Because you say you give me agita. I'm 6 years old going, how am I pouring acid down this god who was a police officer? Imagine being a young man in your 20s and a kid comes to school to try to kill you because of jealousy and your teacher is strangling you because you're too talented. Think about what that would do to you.
Have you found compassion in playing him? I guess we all know this. This is a well-worn trope. You can't be in judgment of the people you play.
It's interesting. I was thinking about that the other day. I think I live by that, like you have to love your characters. I don't believe that at all. The one gift that I've been given is empathy as a human being. And the flip side is that is I'm so sensitive and could be hurt so easily. I think that also is part of why I feel like I found the right thing to do with my life professionally. Those things could be a benefit to telling a story.
They're like height for a center.
Yeah, and I have so much empathy for him because of all the things I've just been saying, because he was alive and had all of these traits as a human being, and he had to survive with that. And it's not like a 2-for-1 thing that you're saying, but I don't believe at all. That fight when she says it's just hate in your heart. All you care about is showing everybody that they're less than you. I don't believe that at all. And nor does she. And that's the hope of that
That's also
conducting.
too binary.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it can be both.
Of course he loves the idol aspect.
Yes.
But at the core, what I feel from him, and you could take any video, if you like YouTube, Leonard Bernstein, played any random one, and you and I talked about his eyes and his voice, I don't see hate. I see generosity. Now, that doesn't mean he wasn't a monster at times, but I do believe there's a deep light.
And that's where we get into a much harder and more nuanced question, which is, can we have these super special people and expect that they're going to be completely normal then when we need them to be?
His tragic flaw, and it's by his upbringing, the way society viewed him, his religion, his talent. He had a whole bunch of weapons pointed towards him. But his tragic flaw, and what we know now living in this, in quotes, evolved culture, is that he could have done the work to try to be more centered and have boundaries and be able to live a life of kindness. And I think that he didn't have those tools.
Yeah, he was living when if you were an alcoholic, you went to the sanitarium.
That's right.
Yeah. That's a great point. You can only be so disappointed in someone living in the context.
It has to be
they live.
contextualized.
Yeah, that's very fair.
He had a lot of fires burning all at once. I could have a great family. I'll fuel that fire. Everybody wants to fuck me. I'll fuel that fire. I'm a once-in-a-generation artist. I'll fuel that, composing and conducting. Very hard to stoke both with equal fervor. So you have all these fires burning. You can't keep them all. I mean, if I've learned one thing, focus on one thing. But if you're trying to keep all of these things going, eventually they're not going to be tended to and they're going to burn out or they're going to take over everything.
Well, and that gets to the heart of one of my cardinal sins. I'm greedy. I want everything. I want to be the best drummer in Los Angeles.
But do you still?
No, it definitely has dissipated.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even sitting here watching you, I don't see any of that. Do you?
It can be confusing. I'm really referencing the foundational stuff I battle, and I do think there's been great progress. So I am in no way...
Because your core, that I will go to the grave, is kindness. No matter all this shit you and I have been through.
If not kindness, I want the best for the people that I love.
I would say that's kindness.
Okay, good.
That's how we're going to define
And I don't,
it.
now here's the thing, I wasn't sure. I was urged to declare this diagnosis on him, but I was looking for like just textbook narcissism as like a real personality disorder. Are the people around him props, or is he genuinely concerned about the people around him? Does he want to help them as much as he wants to be helped by them? That was another thing I found myself kind of evaluating. And again, because like I would alcoholism, I try to really go, hey man, it'd be real easy for you to start drinking the Kool-Aid. You got to really mind yourself about narcissism. And so I think I'm hyper aware of other people, right or wrong.
But who's keeping him in check? Why can't he have all of it for a long time? No one's saying stop this, or no one's giving ultimatums. So what
Was he
human
betraying?
would say, I guess on my own I'm going to give up this thing that is fulfilling me right now? None of us would do that if there weren't people saying you can't.
Like
No
if
one
you weren't
was saying that.
actively betraying someone.
Yeah, and they're saying, look, I'm walking out, or I'm leaving, or you can't do this to me. That was not happening. And so it would take a astronomical level of understanding.
I think there was a lot of no. First of all, just professionally, what he overcame. Never an American conductor, certainly a Jew.
Yeah.
To come into this art form, Hoover had a folder on him that was this thick.
Looks about 3 inches to the
Yeah.
For the listener. Yeah.
Imagine those are all tiny papers, very thin papers.
The thinnest available
But that's what I
for the
mean.
FBI.
He overcame so much.
And if you go back and read, talk about bad reviews.
Oh, did he get eviscerated?
Oh, his whole career.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so comforting, isn't
People
it?
made fun of his tactics. In the 80s, his conducting was all of a sudden praised by the very people that were ridiculed. You know, he was a unicorn. People don't want
They're
unicorns.
scared.
And the other difference I felt that I can't relate to is I don't know so much that he needed the praise of people because he was so aware that he was a dragon.
He had that in his own heart.
Because it was a reality. You know, that was the idea of the beginning of the movies. He's not living with us. And God says, I'm going to call you to come down here and show people this thing. Now, that's a huge gift I'm giving you. Let's see what you do with it.
We've witnessed it most recently
Yeah.
a couple times in John Batiste.
Oh, dude.
Dude,
Yeah, no. He's
He's a gift.
Yeah,
He's
no,
a
it's
gift.
a joke. And talk about present.
I can see in John Batiste's eyes that he is both grateful for the adoration, but that's not even in the equation.
His pursuit is so far beyond that. And that was Lenny's too, I felt.
That helps me link those two, actually.
Okay. He was like a ridiculous talent. Lenny. When you get a chance, just YouTube. Leonard Bernstein does the history of music in 5 minutes.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Dude,
It'll be a
it
very
is-
John experience.
It is. He takes you through the beginning of sound to now
Oh, wow.
in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I need to see that. yeah.
And you're just like, okay.
And you're asking a lot. Again, here's the compassion thing. You're asking so much. You're asking someone to live on another plane where that stuff is accessible. And then between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m., live on your plane. That's what I was asking. Do we have to have some kind of tolerance for if we want the things we want? Is Michael Jordan the funnest teammate? No. You're not going to get the funnest teammate and the teammate that brings you 6 championships. There also has to be some level of honesty in these equations, I guess.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't excuse
No.
if you're being hurt by that person, but at the same time, there's just a certain reality. I think a lot of people want a lot of reward and not a lot of risk. And that feels dishonest as well.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Getting back to what's the reason to make this movie, I never really thought about weighing the analysis of it all in terms of judgment or win or lose. It was more like, I think this guy reflects things that we all feel and go through on a cinematic level because it's on steroids. So the hope is the reason why you guys do this, you want to connect with people. That's it, bottom line. Can it connect with you so you don't feel so alone as a human? Period. It's real simple.
And I hope to let you into my POV occasionally.
That is the connection.
Yeah.
That's the means by which we don't feel so alone. I don't want to live in a room by myself for my whole life. I need people.
Also, they're great reminders because you evaluate everyone around you assuming they're living in the same reality as you are, and it's wrong. And to have something tangible to experience someone else's reality actually reminds you like, oh no, we're all living in our own little thing. And so it's really important to remember this isn't the only version.
It's all subjective. There's nothing objective about reality, which is scary, but true.
But we assume it is.
And don't you think social media and media in general reflects just how disparate
How
realities
fragmented.
are?
100%.
We actually have a booklet of another reality that we could open up and read. And you're like, oh, wow, that's a completely different analysis of even things and people that I know.
Yes.
Right. You and I are doing it individually, personally, with our own story. It's like, oh, that was a story that worked for 40 some years.
That's right.
Is that still the story that'll work for the next 40? And it might be time to make a new one.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask really quick because you had done so much research. I recently read the Mike Nichols
His
biography.
biography.
Have you read that?
I read sections of it. I heard it's incredible.
I was thinking about you the entire time I read it. I just kept thinking, Cooper has to be obsessed with this book. And again, I was a Philistine on him. Like everyone in New York knows about Mike
course.
Nichols. It's like a very elevated. Same with Lenny Bernstein.
And Leonard Bernstein was godfather to their children.
I knew you were doing the movie, and then I was reading the book, and then I was learning that Mike hung out with him in Martha's Vineyard all the time. And then, of course, I got more interested in Leonard Bernstein because this new guy I'm obsessed with, Mike Nichols, was somehow connected to him and sharing something. But again, I don't know what parts of that book you read, but he was like fucking smoking crack during a lot of these movies.
I know.
And then addicted to this benzo that made him go crazy for a year, and he like sold everything he owned because he thought he was going broke. I mean, this motherfucker was on a ride while making all these incredible things. And I didn't even know he had been the most legendary comedian of his day.
Right.
What?
I know. Nichols and May. Insane.
Yes. So to me, I was like, oh, these two feel very similar in that they're doing everything.
Yes.
Somehow Mike Nichols is the best Broadway director, but he's also doing movies, and he was the most inventive comedian with May. And fucking smoking crack.
And a father. And married to Diane Sawyer.
Makes me so fascinated with her.
Yeah. And beloved.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's the key.
But that was at a time when you could be. I don't know about now.
Given his lifestyle, you mean?
Yeah, and just that we don't like keeping people on top now.
Oh, interesting.
We want him to be that, but then we'd love to tear him down at this point if he was happening now.
What's your relationship to that?
People wanting people to fall.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I don't think anyone's nefarious or malicious. I think that we are all blueprinted to tell stories. And when someone gets to the very top, we need a third act. So unless they can get higher, I think in general, people are like, well, what's next?
And status monkeys, you get tired of seeing the same people on top, and it feels unjust and unfair. And so let's use our power to take them down. I think it's rough.
What do you think about it?
I never thought of it. It's always so interesting to hear your point of view. This idea of like just needing more of a story because then it gets stale. I look at it from a different point of view, my own lens, which is I don't want to be alone. And I do think that's a deep need. I mean, we're social animals.
Exactly.
Period. There's nothing easier to connect with somebody by putting somebody else down, right? That's the old thing. You and I can shit on somebody that we know and we'll feel like, oh, look how connected we are. It won't last long.
And let me applaud
though.
you. And I have given you credit on here many times. You are actually the person that pointed that out to me. I can remember so clearly 3 things you've said to me. One was when someone's talking shit about someone else to me, it tells me more about them than the person they're talking shit about. I was like, ugh. That opened up a whole world to me. One was my own vanity. If other people are onto what Cooper's saying, I'm just exposing myself. 2, I started noticing I do it to point out a virtue of my own. If I'm on set and I go like, oh, where's Mike? 15 minutes behind, I guess. If I say that, I'm saying I'm on time. And I actually won't move through the world bragging about myself for being on time. So once I just connect the pieces of what I'm really doing, then I don't have an appetite for it anymore.
And I've discovered so many traits of my behavior that I didn't even realize until this foundation thing, this new story we are telling ourselves that's more close to the truth. And I laugh at my boundaryless behavior and I think like, oh, I know what I was doing. I had justified it all because I'm honest. That whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't lie. It's a little bit more than that.
Unless you're lying to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you might be telling the truth
all the time.
Your
but-
truth,
yeah.
which is totally wrong.
And I could feel to myself, it's so much easier to shit on somebody and connect. And I feel like this new reality that's out there that has been cultivated for years. When we first started being in this business, I think is the inception of it with like message boards. You know, remember back in the day.
Oh, your story with message boards is so fantastic.
But I think that was the beginning of it. And now if you're part of a school council, you can go and read the comment. Like it's everywhere. Everybody has their own little pocket of Hollywood.
Yes.
And has to sustain a level of humanity or just sustenance given the amount of slings and arrows that they can read about themselves on a daily basis. What saddens me is that it's the easiest way to connect with people, by putting other people down.
That's kind of sweet, though. When you actually frame it that way, it gives me
empathetic.
sympathy for the two monkeys talking shit on the third monkey. It's like, oh, I see. They want companionship. This seems like the easiest way.
But it's still hurtful.
Oh, God, yeah. But my goal is to hopefully give everyone the benefit of the doubt. It's very hard for me a lot of times. But when you frame it that way, it actually allows me to be a little sympathetic to it.
Yeah, because I can relate to it. It's not like these people are monsters and I'm a good guy. It's I don't want us as a collective to go into that base, easy way of communicating because all it's going to do is cannibalize ourselves because everybody's going to start feeling horrible about themselves. Suicide rate's going to skyrocket, drug use, and we're going to get lost. To grow takes work and not easy work, and it never ends.
Yeah, bad news.
But when you work hard and people are working hard around you and love is the actual tool. I can't believe that this movie got made the way it did. There was a tremendous amount of adversity, but there were enough people filled with love that made this film. And that's the only reason that it was able to become what it is. And that I know for a fact until I don't know it, which is you and I undertake something and we work hard and we approach it with love. I don't know what we're capable of achieving. Because we're doing it together, I don't know where the ceiling is.
Right.
That's
right,
really
right,
exciting.
We're a multiplicate.
But if I do it on my own, I know I'll never get to where I could get if I'm surrounded by people that are all working together.
Mm-hmm.
This ability to connect with each other so quickly, globally, as a collective, we have so much opportunity. It just saddens me that the negative aspect of it is also so destructive because it's the easiest.
Yeah. Well, it's incredible. Do you know what you're going to do next?
Yeah.
Oh, fun. I watched it, and when it ended, I was like, I don't know where he musters up another.
I want to talk to you about it offline. I'm very curious what you're going to think because I always love your perspective.
Well, thank you. I also need to just point out it doesn't have anything to do with Maestro, but of course, in my research, I watch your most recent Fallon. You guys have the most special thing. It's so fun to watch. I can't believe how fun it is to watch you two
I'm
together.
glad.
Do you fucking just
I feel
love
that. Yeah.
going there?
Yeah,
You
totally.
are so calm when you're there. It's incredible. You've got like these very low energy counter punches that are so great the whole time. You're never in a hurry. It's very Bill Murray when you're there. What do you think it is about that relationship? Does it exist outside of the show?
I don't really know him outside the
Right.
show that well at all. Like
it's-
zero.
Wow.
Did you see the most recent one?
I don't know if I saw the most recent.
Oh my God. I don't know if it's an in-show promo for these actual
Oh, yeah,
glasses.
those
He's got
glasses.
like these glasses that you can hit record on at any time.
Oh, I did see that.
Yes, and they're
that.
like going back and forth with the glasses. It could probably have gone on for 26 minutes. I don't know. And then we're trying to talk about the high school reunion. You guys can't do anything sincere. That's what's consistent
It's
between
the
the two.
chemistry. That's real.
Yes, and every time you try to talk about something for real, it cannot be done. And there's something so fucking entertaining about it.
Getting back to this story thing I know I keep talking about, but I've noticed as I've gotten older and more present and boundaried, I'm just calmer in my life. And one way that I really recognize it is how I cry. Because this Love on the Spectrum show, I cried through the whole show.
Right.
Whenever I get emotional in my life, I'm always like, I'm the ugliest crier because my whole body starts to shake. Like I was never like the one tear guy.
Right.
Like I'm like, you sure you want me to cry in this scene? Because it's going to be, you're going to feel
You're going
very,
to widen out. My body's going to move around.
yeah, and it's going to be very
I'm
uncomfortable.
going to leave frame at some point.
And music is so moving. I mean, I cried a lot through the research of this movie because I went to so many concerts. But that was happening in tandem of all this work I was doing. I cry so differently now.
Oh.
My body doesn't convulse.
Because you're not trying to squeeze it in so hard.
There's just more relaxation. That was
Oh,
one of the
wow.
byproducts. I recognized that a couple months ago. I was like, tears are just coming down. I'm not like having a seizure.
right.
I really think I'm just calmer and more open. It's interesting. And that's kind of a beautiful thing. I was so happy to feel that and recognize what it was. Because I thought, I've never in my life cried like that. Remembering my dad, when he would cry, which I never saw till I was like in my 20s, he looked like a baby. First of all, his voice would go 3 octaves higher because he wasn't open.
Yeah.
You know, it was really interesting.
I'm not shocked that we're on a similar crying journey because we've been paralleling each other so perfectly. But yeah, I've become a huge crier in the, Monica, last year and a half?
Yeah, 2 years.
I cry. We do this show on Fridays where we interview armchairs. Half of them I cry in. I'm just crying all the time now. It's like
There's a
30
person that
years
I
held
spend
up.
time with. That person seen me cry. Probably, I'm not exaggerating, Dax. I'm not kidding. Probably 150 times in the last year.
Wow. Lucky.
And I'm just sitting there going like, It's bonkers.
Do you have some that always set you off? Because I have a very specific thing that seems to set me off. It's not sadness. It's almost like
No,
it's
not
like
sadness.
spirit that breaks through when
Humanity.
Yes.
When I see humanity, and that's why Love on the Spectrum is like black tar humanity. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just
Colombian flake. Yeah, for me, it's these documentaries about female singers.
Oh, wow.
Kristen came into the room about 6 months ago when the Sinead O'Connor doc came out, and I was sitting in bed watching it in the middle of the afternoon, and she came in. My shirt was wet. I was just bawling because this woman, despite everything, would stand there and let it rip, fuck everything, open up her throat and the chest and let it rip, and fuck you, I won't let you not let me shine. And I'm like, like it fucks me up so bad. It's always the same kind of vibe.
It's funny you say that. As the business has changed, most of what I talk to Dave Bugliari about is, are we going to get another T-Mobile commercial? And is Louis Vuitton going to keep us for a watch campaign?
Yes.
Like, that's it. That's literally the discussions.
Yes. Well, you're kind of handling the other thing on your own.
And it doesn't really bring in revenue.
Right.
You know, so it's like everything's changed.
Oh, I know.
And so I was at the Louis Vuitton Paris men's fashion show for that. And Pharrell is the artistic director. And after the show, he brought on a group of musicians from a reservation. So they start singing. And I'm sitting there, you know, with the Louis Vuitton outfit
Trying to
on.
look your best. Trying to represent the brand well.
And these men open their mouths and start, like you said, will not be quiet.
Right.
And I'm going to show you all the pain
Yes.
is going to come out of my instrument, of my body right now.
Yeah.
Because we're wind and string instruments, right? That's what we are. We're both as humans, right? Because we have our vocal cords and air goes through us. So it's like two instruments at once being played through a human voice.
Never thought of that.
And bro, luckily, because as I'm getting older, I need glasses.
Yeah,
you know.
sure,
and so
sure.
and I don't know about you, but like, I'm so happy. Luckily, I need glasses.
Blessed with bad eyesight.
And I was like convulsing. But again, I was loose, so it wasn't hard, but like I was like, and just floods of tears. By the way, it wasn't like it took a second.
You didn't need a ramp up. They said action. And
That's right. It was exactly the same thing.
Yes. That someone would be beautiful despite all the
That's right.
fucking voices
Yes.
trying to shame them or
Yes.
embarrass them for being so.
Yes.
Oh, it's the greatest. All right, I love Leonard Bernstein.
You came around. Oh, Bradley, we really
Yeah.
gotta
Also,
let you go,
shout out
but-
to Dave. You just brought him up, but I'm always so flattered. Occasionally, Boogs will text me that he's listened to an episode. It's always so thoughtful and nice.
Big
of him.
shout out.
I wanted to talk about your high school reunion. I think it's so fascinating. You went there, but we don't have time.
You got to come back more.
I would love to.
It's so fun.
What percentage of your life is in LA now? 10, 5?
Oh no, 2.
We gonna ever just pull out entirely or no?
I don't want to.
Right.
And luckily, it's a 2-bedroom house. It's okay. But you know, who knows?
Who knows if Vuitton gets the footage of you fucking collapsing at the fashion show. If you want to be an extremely sensitive man, Louis Vuitton,
That's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we're asking for.
you got to go.
I'm getting
Okay.
calls.
Okay, great. I'll let you go. Did you watch the Beckham doc?
I sure did.
As I've gotten healthier, I know about less people now. I don't know who's doing great at this or that. I'm not really sure who's succeeding on massive levels. I think it's like a good sign that I'm not tracking anybody. But in that, I've also lost, as I've gotten older, people I just am in awe of, and I miss it. And I watch Beckham, and I'm like, thank you. We're back to me seeing Brad Pitt for the first time.
Oh, interesting.
I want to look like you. I started wearing sweaters and blue jeans again.
Oh, that's
I love his tattoos on his neck. I love how he cleans his countertop. And I'm like, oh, good. I got one. I was afraid I couldn't get that anymore.
That's funny. I almost had the opposite reaction where I was like, yeah, everybody's human. Everybody's dealt with adversity. Because my idea of Beckham is like, oh, the guy, which people I'm sure have said about us. Born and then, everything is easy.
They never had a cavity.
Yeah.
They don't have to wipe.
As I go, yeah, the human experience, again, getting back to that, is filled with strife, period.
Yeah, but if you could look as cool as him while you're going through it.
That'd be dope.
Oh, my God. All right, I love you. This was so fun.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad you're doing so well.
You too. Eyes are banging.
Oh, good.
Yeah. All right, love you.
Love you.
Stay tuned for the fact check so you can hear all the facts that were wrong.
No, I was getting my hair cut.
Oh, yeah, looks nice.
Oh, thank you. 2 years younger? 1 years younger.
4 years.
4 years younger. Oh, I just love how the sides feel.
Do you like to touch it a lot?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. I remember when I was younger and the first time I shaved my head.
Probably chewy caramel will dissolve.
Wow, this is a big. Whoa, I almost caught it.
Oh, me too. And mine didn't see mine come until right before it hit my face.
And
It's
you,
soft.
you really believe I'm gonna like it?
If your problem is that it's like an hour to chew through it,
Okay.
that you'll be done in
Seconds.
45 seconds.
And should I suck it or chew it?
Oh, wow.
It depends on your preference.
I mean, I don't know if that makes
I don't know
a
what your
difference.
kinks are, but
if you suck
this
it,
is
it'll
the
last
first thing
longer.
I'm eating today. Is that bad?
yeah, not ideal.
I know. Why don't I wait till I eat? Well, no, but we need it for the pod. Well, I guess this is what
see.
work is about.
It'll make you hyper for the fact check.
No one's gonna like what I'm about to say.
Uh-oh.
Which already, it's too much.
Well, it is a big piece.
Well, it's like so sticky.
Yeah, kind of like
It does taste very good.
It's the duck fat.
The game is to like chew not all the way. It's like dance it on your molars so it doesn't stick.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the challenge of it.
It tastes so meaty because of the duck fat. I got to put it away.
Oh, you're not going to finish it?
I'll finish it later.
Oh.
This is how I feel about caramels. Like I don't want to finish it. It's gonna take me an hour to finish it.
How come people not like the sound of that? That sounds so funny.
All stuck. It's all stuck on my teeth. I appreciate you trying. You did your
I loved
best.
mine, but I already knew I loved it.
It does taste really good though.
I even broke my sugar for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Okay, back to the first time I shaved my head.
Okay.
I remembered like submerging my head in a bowl of water.
Uh-huh.
Like tipping my head down.
For
and
what?
I had shaved my head.
I know. Okay.
And then I like wanted to get all the like whatever
Residue.
all the little particles out.
Uh-huh.
And when I dipped my head in, it was one of the craziest sensations of my life.
Wow. What did it tell me more?
I don't know what to say
on.
other than tickly. You know
Prickles.
when you get tinglies on your scalp.
Like when hair play?
Sure. Yeah, it was just like putting a dome of hair play on.
So it's like someone was playing with your hair when you put your head in the water.
As I was inserting it into the water, as the water took over the whole shape, I was like, ooh, like I got it, like a chill.
Oh.
Pleasure chill. That's what they're called, pleasure chills.
Wow.
Yeah, I really missed that. But not worth
sounds lovely.
shaving my head again. That was part of my downfall in junior high when I got
know.
too close to the sun. I
You
thought I
flew
could pull
too
off.
close to the sun.
I thought I could pull anything off, and I couldn't.
I know.
It really will expose how big your nose is when you shave your head. Did we ever address the fact that we did the nose swap? We posted it.
Oh, I don't
And
think
it
we talked about it.
Yeah, it was pretty concluded. Well, first of all, a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with that photo," which is funny. But also, it did prove, I think, once and for all, that my nose is 3 times the size of yours. Because your nose looked tiny on my face, and mine looked enormous.
But
on
okay, but this is a false
negative.
because obviously your nose is bigger than my nose because your face is bigger than my face because you're a bigger person than me.
Okay.
It's about proportions. And I think proportionally, my nose on my face is at least the same, if not bigger than yours on your face.
Well,
Yeah.
agree to disagree.
And now there's
But
no way.
We need another system because we thought that was going to prove it. And
I knew
your
there
nose
was-
was a button nose on my face.
Well, obviously. I mean, also the angle
I was
of
like,
the
oh,
picture.
wow, that would be a...
I can do another one. I intentionally did not resize noses. Normally, if
Yeah,
I'm
that's
doing
his-
like a face swap, I'll try to make it proportionate.
I have a new idea.
Okay.
Let's do molds of our nose. And then we will be able to hold the mold up. In your case, you'll be able to put my nose completely over yours, is my guess.
Okay, but again, this is the same problem.
Because you're talking proportionate.
Yes.
So what we need to do is we need to measure from the top of our hairline to our chin. But that's a little unfair because I'm a male and have more of a receding hairline. Ugh.
But this is all part of it.
I guess visually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yes, we do need to do a full ratio. Can we use your penis mold that you posted to do a nose mold?
Well, I don't know. I kind of want to save it for
A penis.
Sure. I don't think I'm ready to give it that up yet.
And that was the only one on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Drive Away Dolls, the movie, which I haven't seen yet, but
Oh,
I
that's
do
a
want to
movie
see.
promotion?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's a
brother.
Cohen. Yeah, Ethan Cohen.
It's a Coen Brothers movie?
Yeah.
And they're handing out penis?
Yes, of course.
Well, I don't know, of course. That sounds very risque for the Coen Brothers.
Oh, don't you think to me it sounds so accurate?
Oh, okay.
Because they're funny.
They are funny, but they're also classic.
They're also not saying, even though we've talked about this before, because you said, well, when it's one, it's actually both. But they're not
Right.
saying it's the Coen brothers.
Oh,
they're
they're
saying
not.
it's Ethan,
We
I
should
think.
Yeah, it's
look-
just Ethan.
Bradford, Vermont.
Brad from Vermont?
Bradford, Vermont.
Oh, that's the location.
Yes.
I thought it was your friend Bradford, Vermont. Brad, Vermont.
From Vermont.
Yeah, like this is what basketball players will do. Like Susie Denver, Tiffany Sarasota.
What do you mean?
Because they go to a city to play basketball and they meet a Jennifer.
Oh, you mean in their phone?
In their
yes,
phone.
yes.
Yes. So
Oh,
I thought
100%.
you had a Brad Vermont.
Oh,
and I was
that'd
like,
be
oh, this is so
cool.
exciting.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, people do that. They go to places, they hook up, and they put in
They
the
don't know the last name. Even if they knew the last name, they know in 3 months the last name won't
forget.
ring a bell.
Exactly.
And I think more ambitious and prolific some of these players got. I think there had to be more adjectives because I think there were multiple
Oh, my
Jennifers from
God.
Denver. And then so sometimes it's
I don't-
Jennifer, Denver, red hair, freckle on nose.
Oh my God. I think you're also giving them a lot of credit because I think they just didn't even put the name in.
They might not have put the name in. I don't know.
It looks like his wife wrote it a while ago.
Okay.
The script was conceived several decades ago.
Oh, several decades ago.
Yeah, by his wife, and she edited a bunch of their earlier movies.
Wonderful.
And then Ethan explained, me and Joel would never have made this movie. It would not have happened. I don't think me and Joel would have written a romantic comedy about two female leads. Here's the funny thing. I think 20 years ago, we could have gotten an important lesbian movie made, but this is an unimportant lesbian movie. That just didn't compute then.
Oh my God. That's
This is an
hilarious.
unimportant lesbian movie. That's really funny.
Also, Matt Damon's in it for a quick hot second.
Oh, he's got a pop? Mm-hmm. Who are the leads?
Beanie's in it.
Margaret Qualley. I mean, I said Margaret.
Yeah. I was like, this is a fresh face. I'm introducing Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley.
Okay.
Beanie's in it. Anyway,
Okay. When I
I
saw
got my penis in the mail,
yes.
and it is exciting.
Yes. Now let me ask
It's a
you.
mold. I have to mold someone's penis.
Yeah, now here's a fun question for everyone.
Okay.
I would be very flattered if someone asked me
For the mold. This is like
would you feel comfortable just asking like Matt Damon, like would you mind molding your penis?
Right.
Because I if I were him, I would feel so flattered. It's such a compliment
That's what I wonder. Like, how inappropriate is it
to request.
to ask, like,
Jimmy to ask Matt for you.
yeah,
Oh,
to ask
wow.
a best boy, to ask another best boy,
Yeah.
if he'll just like make a little mold for me. I mean,
Well,
this
don't say a
is
little
so-
mold because that
Oh,
may trigger him to
okay.
not want to do it.
well,
a big mold.
or he'll really want to because he'll want to show
It's a big mold.
Or maybe it's a little. That's fine.
Yeah, I know. But
don't care.
everything's fine. I'm just telling you,
just can't
if
be
you
plastic.
approach the dude and say, I want a little mold, I can just promise you that
No,
the
but I
boy
can't
will-
help you.
The wish
Sorry.
can only do big molds. If you want a big mold, call back.
Okay, but this is sort of similar to the question of like, can I have just a little bit of your sperm also?
Is that also a question that?
Yeah, because we talked about this on Race to 35 with Andrew Huberman.
Oh, right.
How would you feel if someone asked for
your
your
sperm.
sperm to
Yeah.
be a donor?
That to me, well, we've talked about this
Yeah.
under maybe a different guise. No
Yeah.
one asking me, but just that would be a no for me because I couldn't handle knowing that
I know.
a child of mine was alive and I wasn't helping.
I know.
But a penis of mine out there,
You don't care.
giving pleasure to somebody,
You love
some
that.
guy or girl who
Yeah, maybe both. Maybe it gets passed around.
who knows? Maybe it's a group party everyone has.
Right.
Sounds unhygienic.
Well, I'm sure they could figure out.
I don't think you really thinking much about hygiene when you're
You've
in an
thrown,
orgy.
yeah. By the way, if you're worried about hygiene in an orgy, you get out of the orgy.
That's
it's not for
one of
you.
the I don't
it's
think
not for
it's
you.
Well, I don't think it's for me for that reason.
Sure, and that's great.
Well, I don't want to say never.
But you
never
can't
say
have your
never.
cake and eat it too. It's like
I agree.
Right. So it's just everyone's got to be honest about.
Well, you
what's
can
happening.
have cake and eat it too if you have cake at the orgy.
But ironically, that might lead to more infections than anything anyone else was fearful of.
But it tastes so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think like high
Worth
school
it.
kids wound up with UTIs and stuff because they got a little too adventurous with the food and
Of
stuff. They were
course.
smearing on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UTIs.
They'll get you. Okay, so back to the mold,
Penis.
the penis mold.
Yeah.
Who are you're going to send 3 emails.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, 3
Of
emails.
anyone in the whole world?
Yep.
Emails that would go directly to them. Like not
That's
like
right, not to their people.
Jimmy to the that's
No.
wasting too.
You've got a direct line.
Okay.
You go, hey, it's Monica. I got this really fun thing. It's a penis mold. And I was just thinking of like whose penis would I want a mold of, and yours. So if you're up for it, I'll send it over.
Okay. And I have one more question.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to send it to 3 people 3 different am I allowed to collect 3?
No, my
Okay.
thought here is just like you're gonna mail to multiple colleges.
Oh, I see. And
Yeah,
one acceptance.
Yes.
I'm gonna accept one. Okay. Okay.
I feel like we know 2 of them.
I know that's why like 3 is a small number.
Okay, you want to do 5?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do 5.
Because then 2 we know.
Yep. Matt and Ben, let's just reiterate. Because this is your first episode of Armchair Expert. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are number 1 and 2 mails sent. Not in that order. No particular
No
order.
particular order. Those 2. That would be so interesting to see the difference between
Sure.
those 2 penises.
Do you think
Of
you
course.
could tell?
Oh.
That's a great question. I think I like in my heart. I feel
know.
like
I know you do.
I do think I could tell.
I know, me too.
I already feel like I can imagine what they look like.
Sure. Me too. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, those 2.
I feel like you're playing longer than you. I think
No,
you know
no,
immediately.
no, I don't.
Oh, you don't.
I really don't.
Okay.
Because look, this is not
Let's
like
not get into the reality. I know what you're about to say.
what.
Who really wants this penis anyways?
Oh no, I wasn't going to say that.
okay,
No,
okay.
I was going to say it's different than like who do I want to get married to.
Of course.
So it's
This is whose dick do you want inside of you?
yeah, which
Yeah.
is very specific.
Yes.
Maybe.
Ooh, can I suggest one?
Yeah,
Carmelo Anthony.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Because your fucking pants exploded when he was sitting in here.
They did.
Again, if you're new to the podcast, it's your first episode, Monica's wardrobe literally broke in 2 places while we were doing the interview. The crotch ripped right out and your buttons popped.
They really did.
I know, it's
from
insane.
sitting, just from
It's-
sitting.
Yes.
Yeah, so
insane.
that's actually a really good pick.
Okay, great.
I think my body is going to respond well.
Yes, clearly. As has already been demonstrated.
And if anyone's married or girlfriended up with these people, or you consent in this like whole thing.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, if anyone wanted a mold of my penis, again, it'd be super flattering and great. Obviously, my first question would have to be like, hold on, I've got to ask my wife if I'm allowed to make a mold.
You
And my
would
wife is-
never ask her that.
Well, I'd have to ask
No,
her
you
that.
just have to say no because you know that she would not want that.
Let me paint a scenario.
Okay,
I bet
okay.
you I can paint a scenario.
Make a wish.
Virtually, we get a letter from Dame Judi Dench.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, I hope this isn't inappropriate, but I was watching something and it occurred to me I would love to have a mold of Dax's penis. If this is offensive, my apologies.
She's so polite.
Yes, in playful and fun, and you don't feel like everything's great. So Dame Judi Dench requests a mold of my penis. I would say to Kristen,
Yeah.
hey, I got this email from Judi Dench. I'm inclined to make her one.
Okay.
And I have a hunch
She'll say yes.
Kristen would say yes.
I think you're right.
Yes.
But realistically, it depends on the person.
I know, which is funny because that just proves how arbitrary in your head it is.
It would depend on the person for you if she was molding her,
Her pussy.
It would.
Well, for sure.
Like you probably wouldn't want Mike to have access to that.
Oh, interesting. I have a sliding scale. Like this has already happened in real life in the past, which is I have a ton of variety of friends. I've had varying levels of them being inappropriate with girlfriends I've had.
Sure.
And there are certain friends of mine that I saw more predatorial than others. Bree and I used to play this game. We walk in and we're banging X. What's the reaction?
I love this. Yeah.
Yes. And so always like if I walked in and Nate and her were making love, I'd be like, I'm kind of happy for both of them.
Yeah.
You know,
You
like-
used to say that about Kristen and Nate too.
Yeah, I say that about Nate. Like Nate's allowed to make love to anyone.
Which is okay. Now, hold on. I want to deep dive into this.
Yes,
little.
because what I want to make clear, it's not pity because Nate's a stud.
That's what I was about to say. Because if I heard that about me, I would take that poorly. Like,
Right. You would think it would mean you're not
like,
threatening.
Exactly.
That's not it. So I'm glad we're getting into the granular details
Me
of
too.
this. Every girl likes Nate.
Yeah,
That's
he's
not
very attractive.
Yes, and his personality is like the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But he would never, ever make anyone uncomfortable, or he's just not like a hungry, predatorial type.
Yeah, you feel like it's
He's so safe. Yes. And he would never
Run away with them.
Yeah, he's not trying to get what I have so he feels better about himself.
Right.
I can isolate when people are trying to get what I have so they can feel above me or superior to me.
Oh, as opposed to just being attracted.
Yeah, that's not really
Interesting.
it. Yep. And so
You're okay with people just being very attracted to her,
Yes.
but having nothing to do with you.
yes, and I told you there was a very weird hookup, Freudian slip. There's a very weird hiccup in my open relationship with Bree.
Yeah.
Which is like, I didn't care. I was not jealous. But there were a couple different people over 9 years where I just felt like dude on dude when I was around them. I was like, this is more about you trying to alpha me. And like something male to male happened that had nothing to do with whether or not I cared they did something and I didn't know about it.
And you did you kind of feel like
It
protective
was a challenge
of
to-
Bree? Like, is it even do you even like her? Or are you
Right.
just
And
trying
there's
to do
just a
this?
couple different dudes where I felt like, oh, this is more of a challenge to me.
Interesting.
And then that became a completely separate issue, but one that did make me
Interesting.
against the notion.
Okay.
Yeah, there's certainly a ton of people that I guess I wouldn't care, and then there's a bunch of people I would not
Yeah.
want.
And same for her, right? Like
Right.
that's the whole point is
Well, I do wonder, this is what we don't know. Is there anyone she'd be like, yeah, that's okay?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm inclined to say yeah. Like, definitely this Dame
James.
Judi Dench example, I think is a really good one.
Like Meryl
but
Streep.
you know why?
Oh, Meryl Streep. Yeah.
I don't know if she'd want
That's
that.
a good one.
I don't know
I'll
if
ask
she'd
her.
want that.
I'll ask her.
Yeah, okay. The reason I
FaceTimer.
feel like the answer is no is because even the idea of asking her this type of question,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's not going to like this.
Okay. Yeah.
As
it
her
doesn't
friend.
need to be asked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the Judi Dench example.
Because she'll be like, why do you need to do that? These questions, like, it starts getting out of control, you know? Like,
They're a snowball.
why do you need your penis to be out there
Right. So
in the world?
Right.
And what
So-
would you say?
Okay, I'd have two things. One would be she asked for it.
Yeah.
Dame Judi Dench asked for it.
Yes.
And then I would be honest and go like, I find it very flattering and I like the idea that she wants that.
Yes. And she would say, that's mine.
Uh-huh.
That penis is mine.
Yeah. And I'd go, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would own that I feel very flattered by that.
Of course. I think
And-
a lot of people would. I mean,
Yeah.
I would if anyone wanted to
If
mold
Matt
up my
Damon
pussy.
wanted
Oh
to-
my God, I would love it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be very, very flattering.
But the conversation I'm having now about all this with Kristen is like, now you're getting into this very, very interesting and dynamic spectrum of what is cheating,
Exactly.
which is like
Exactly.
never endingly fascinating. And
It
there are
is.
so many things for some couples that would be just cheating
Yeah.
that are not for others.
Right.
You know?
Oh, I mean, this
Everyone
is,
kind of gets to set their standard is for
this
that.
would be, to a lot of people, this would be cheating.
Which is funny because it's not cheating. The person's like never even
I
touched the
know.
person. They didn't witness any of the stuff. Now, if it
But it's a
escalated to like,
mo-
now I'd like to show you a video of me using it. Now we're definitely we're inching closer and closer.
That's, yeah, I think most people
Still
would.
not cheating to me.
Well, to most people it would. It
Yeah,
is.
I believe you're right that a lot of people would be. But like if I walked
No.
in and Kristen was watching a video of a guy jacking off that he had sent her that on DM.
that she knows. Not
yeah,
just
it wouldn't
like,
be cheating. The fact that she watched it, she was
Really?
curious and wanted to watch it. For me, that doesn't constitute cheating. Because, like, what's the difference between that and pornography? So now we've drawn a line between you can watch pornography, but if you know one of the actors in the pornography, then that's an issue. So that's just a very arbitrary and interesting
No,
line.
if you know them and you talk to them in life and you're around them in life, it's much different than a stranger.
Well, is it different than her just watching once, or what do you catch her like 3 weeks later
watching it and
the
masturbating
same,
it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this is what I'm suggesting. So like, yeah, on the surface, you're like, oh my God, she's jerking off to this dude that she knows. But like, if I walk in and she's jerking off watching pornography, the physical reality is identical. She's having a fantasy about other people to climax. And so what I'm really saying is like, I don't mind her imagining being with these people sexually to climax by herself. But I mind if she's watching someone she knows to climax. Okay, so that seems like an obvious line until you think, I don't think I have a right to tell her she's not allowed to masturbate in her head about
To
people she
anyone.
knows.
Yeah, you can't.
So all we've added is like a video component. Like I'm fine with her masturbating to people she knows. And then I'm fine with her masturbating to videos if it's pornography. So weirdly, I don't think it's as clear cut.
But it is. It's not clear cut. Everyone's making their own rules for this,
Yeah.
but it is crossing an emotional line. If someone is sending a video that they made for the person, and
But let's just say she's never sent anything back. She's just consumed it. Now, now I think you add another layer. Is like I walk in and she's FaceTime masturbating with somebody she knows. Then that's like time to chat. All right.
yeah, I mean, look again, and we need to. You're an anomaly, and most people are very uncomfortable. Would be
Yeah, and I'm not-
extremely uncomfortable.
And I'm not judgmental of those people.
Yeah.
I would ask them to not be judgmental
Yeah,
of me
you
back.
have your own.
Yeah, I'm just
opinions on
not
this.
terribly threatened by that stuff.
Right. I mean, but emotional shit mixed with physical shit. I think
If it was Mike,
See,
sure.
No, I already said this on his episode, so I don't even feel bad saying it again. Like her and Mike Schur going to a book conference in Pennsylvania for 2 days. That's way more problematic to me than her masturbating watching a video.
of him that he sent her. Because that means when they go anywhere together,
Yeah,
like,
it is.
the chances of them really crossing the line are much higher.
But again, I'm threatened by Mike's philanthropic good nature.
Yeah, but-
the thing I can't compete with. That's the thing that threatens me is what I can't compete
But
with.
don't you think part of why she would be masturbating to him?
It's because of
and-
the books.
It is. It's because of his whole package. It's not his sexuality. That's, I think, one thing, again, that's different often
Guy and
between
girl.
men and women.
Yeah.
Women are not necessarily, which is why back to the original premise of this whole thing where I'm picking these penises, right?
But I'm thrilled you're actually excited about this because I could even see you saying like, "Oh, I don't care about the penis." That's where I thought you were going to go at
Well,
one point, and I was like,
I am sort of
"But let's-
getting there now, unfortunately.
know.
But like that's
I
but
had a
that's,
hunch it was going to go here.
That's the truth about women. You're
Yeah.
attracted to the whole.
I keep
I
forgetting.
know it's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Yeah.
Every time you're making a point, I'm like,
You're attracted to the whole piece and the personality and the connection and those things
yeah.
skyrocket the sexuality to a much different level.
Of course. Although
that is threatening.
Although women do watch pornography in enormously high numbers.
Totally.
So
But I think they're picturing
they're projecting a personality
Yes.
onto them.
Yes. Like I don't think it's just
That's probably true because I
Physical.
project onto them. And in fact, I've already talked about this too. But again, if it's your first time, great. This will be your first time.
welcome
hearing it.
to Armchair Expert.
Yes, welcome. I hope you're enjoying it. This not normally this pervy, but also it is sometimes this pervy.
Yeah.
When I'm looking through the options for pornography,
Even though you don't often look at porn.
I don't, and I think I've been so honest this whole time. I hope people will believe me.
yeah.
I think some people watch porn every day. I watch porn like probably twice a month. I'll watch porn.
Okay.
Right? 24 times a year I'll do it.
Okay.
I forget it's even a thing.
Right.
When I do and I'm scrolling through these pages, like when I'm on high look, like I know from listening to Stern, guys are like, they like stepsister porn or they like babysitter porn.
Right.
You know, they have a
Kinks.
they have a genre they like.
Right.
I like porn where I actually think the girl's super into it and getting off.
Right.
And I'm like,
you want it to be real.
scanning to try to evaluate whether I think this woman's enjoying it or not.
That's nice.
Because my projection is like giving tons of pleasure in
Right.
being validated as being good and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yes, so ultimately I'm projecting. Yeah, we are, I guess. I'm at least searching to find the thing I think that matches
What you want in life.
so maybe like
Sexually,
the women who have a personality type are like, they're scanning through and then that guy looks like a jock. I don't like that. This guy looks like
Yeah, probably. Or I just think it's more a whole blown out fantasy versus just sexual
physical.
pleasure. Like, yeah, the physicality of it. There's more happening with women.
As we learned, responsive and or spontaneous arousal people.
Vanessa Marin. Yeah, she's been getting, I mean, people loved that episode.
It was a great episode.
It was a great
If your
episode.
first time listening, go back and listen to that one.
Okay, well, I still haven't picked my penises.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have 3 of the 5.
Yeah, we have 3 of the 5. I want Brad Pitt's.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's the kind, you know what's funny is if you had this penis collection, I can only imagine there'd be one that when girlfriends came over, you'd be like, you want to see Brad Pitt's penis?
I
Like, you'd
know.
probably have it in a lucite box and like show people.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some lighting. If we interview him, I'm going to ask him, not for you, but I'm going to ask him, has anyone asked you to make a mold of your penis?
Okay.
And then is it something you would do for somebody?
Okay.
Because that seems like a pretty good interview question.
I feel like maybe we
his
shouldn't
publicist
put
would
this
love.
out there because then he's definitely not coming on. Okay, and obviously I'm not like, no one in my life is on my list. Like I'm intentionally
Okay,
like no
right.
one in my life is on my list.
Right. Don't feel,
Charlie is not on
don't
the
have your
list.
feelings hurt Ryan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you said Rob.
No, Rob's in my life. He can't be on the
Okay,
list.
okay. The Lupin guy?
I was just thinking about him.
You're considering him.
I was considering him.
Or Donald Glover.
I was considering him too.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, here's the other problem.
Yes.
Donald
Just because they have the
Glover-
personality you love doesn't mean
Exactly.
it's an ideal dildo.
Correct. And
Right.
like he's so sexy, but his dick on its own is not so sexy.
Yeah.
It's just is what it just is.
Now we're back
Again.
to,
yeah. That is why Ben and Matt's are so
Premium.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
Like because I have so much emotional connection to those.
Yes. Yeah, you'll hold it and you'll be like, oh, I'm holding his penis.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm getting excited just thinking about it.
Like even Carmelo is not that. Except I do
That's more
think-
like I think you do more visceral erotic.
I'll get excited 'cause I know.
Primal.
Yeah.
The way your
Alright,
clothes exploded.
I'm only gonna send out 3 emails.
Well, wait. So Donald, no, and Lupin, no.
I think no.
and
I
Brad
think,
Pitt now?
Oh yeah. Oh 4.
4.
Yeah.
That's great. You got 80%.
I'm gonna think about the 5th.
I want to pick someone weird for you.
Okay.
Like, I want you to do like a genius.
Why?
Because maybe there's something special about that.
Oh,
penis.
you just wanna
I
see
think
what it
you
looks
could like dial into exactly what we're talking about with Ben and Matt. Like if you had Einstein's penis,
Oh, we can do ghosts.
but I use him as an example of like someone that might be thrilling. Or
Oh, you know who I'd want to do if it was
Shakespeare's
a ghost?
penis. Whose?
JFK Jr.
Right. You'd love that.
Yeah.
Hold it. Hold it.
It's just like so waspy. It's such a waspy
The
dick.
white is like the mold was one color, but it comes out like translucent white.
Oh my god. Or
Oh.
I shouldn't. Never mind.
Do it.
I was gonna say like someone from high school who I wanted very
Yes.
badly.
That's good.
And then I felt bad saying that because then it felt like a teenage dick, but they're adults now.
Yeah.
I think I would be like so mean to that one.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
You slam it in the door?
Yeah, because it was.
Because
it
it
didn't.
didn't.
Yeah, they never gave.
You would
it to
hate
me.
fuck that one.
Yes, exactly.
This is incredible.
Oh,
It's
man.
incredible.
It is a okay. Look, it's a ding 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 because this is for Bradley Cooper, a very coveted.
Where most people would want a copy of his dick.
Yes, and I ruled him out because it didn't feel appropriate for this.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart.
Okay. One of the facts is when Bradley says, and you said it too, but it's like him disliking his face.
Oh, uh-huh.
Which I believe him, right? Like he's not lying. He's not.
Yeah.
That's true. But it's like a little bit. It's like when
Bezos feels broke.
No, but when models go on talk shows and say they were tomboys, and you're a little like, oh God, like you can't.
I know what you're saying, but I think it's different because I think he's not pretending he was a dork in high school. Some of these really hot. Look, there was an Amy Schumer sketch about it. It's a famous, great one.
Yes.
It's a well-worn thing. Like, no guys like me, and I was like a gaming nerd. That I think is a lie.
But the problem, I don't think it's fair for us to say that. I don't
I
think
know
it's
just
fair.
but there
'cause
was so many.
I know.
There was so many that there was a sketch about it. So I definitely think they know it's easy to hate someone as beautiful as them, and it just feels like less. You would hate them less if you found out that they were an awkward duckling for a while.
That's what we are saying. Like, I don't know. It gives me a little compassion for those women who we've now made jokes about like, oh God, like they're saying they're a tomboy or they
Some of it's
ugly ducklings, but they probably were.
Sure, that's possible.
I think it's funny because when Bradley Cooper, who
God,
objectively,
sexiest man alive.
exactly,
Yeah.
is saying he doesn't like the way he looks, it just is reminiscent to me of
Right.
when a model goes on a talk show and says they were a tomboy.
So what's interesting though is
But
like
I just think it's funny.
Oh yeah, I see your point. I recognize your point. I don't see it the same. If Ashton was doing that, that to me would be identical to the models from CW doing it. There is a class of dudes. If Josh Duhamel was saying it and Ashton was saying it, and some of these other like pretty boy models were saying it, I think for me it would also file into the category of the crazy hot actresses who have done it.
I think it's also hard. You've been friends with him. You've been friends with him for so long, and you've been on the ride.
Yeah.
I think it might be hard for you to
I'm trapped in his
see.
lower status.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
I'm glad
so.
I am, I guess.
No, you should be.
Yeah, we met trying to claw our way into that number 7 on the call sheet of Wedding Crashers.
So it's just different when he just appears on the scene.
No, I think
in
a
the
lot
Hangover.
Coming down the escalator
Yeah,
in
and
the
it's
suit.
like, who is this person?
Yeah, powerful.
Powerful.
Now, I wonder if what he would admit, because I would like to hear it from him, and I've never even asked him. I'd like to know if he does acknowledge he has an animal magnetism, because I could see him not liking his face, but recognizing, somehow I do have a major power over girls.
I think he
has to know
Well,
that.
I don't think so, based on what he was saying about Leonard and like his magnetism and his weapons.
Yeah.
He was saying it not like I can relate type of. My take from that was that he doesn't recognize that he's him, that he also has all those weapons and does have a magnetism that people are just
their pants are
very
exploding.
drawn to.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Catalyst suit he talks about that he works out in.
Yes.
It's Catalyst with a K.
Yes.
It has EMS technology.
Electromagnetic surge.
Systems. And you wear it. It's FDA cleared for consumer use, custom suit sizing, machine washable textiles.
Oh, wow.
Unlike your
I wonder if you have to have
donuts
it.
from the Apple.
Well, they just arrived, by the way. I did
Oh,
my
exciting.
first meditation this morning with the new donuts on.
Exciting.
And you know what I decided to do is go two-tone. So I have the green ones, but then I got the silvery white donuts.
Wow,
and I like how it
interesting.
looks.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Okay.
I put the green ones in the dishwasher. I'll let you know how it turns out.
Yuck.
They're sitting in there right now waiting to be blasted.
Wait, did you really?
Yeah.
Dax,
What?
is going to make everything so stinky in there.
In the dishwasher?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think so. It's like a nuclear bomb goes off in those things.
Okay. Okay. Well, it says you can do a full body workout in 20 minutes with 0 compromises.
Oh, wow. Good, because I hate compromising.
Yeah. So that's that. Okay, the reality TV show that you wondered if he was talking about, but he wasn't, is called Naked Attraction. That's the one where the
Penises are...
everything gets exposed.
Right. Okay, now, you know what's interesting? I'm now going to join your side of the street a little bit.
Okay.
Which is, I watched an episode of that or something.
Uh-huh.
What I can relate to is, I haven't seen the person yet.
Oh, it's not
So, like, I don't...
remotely sexy.
No, like, I see the vagina and I'm like, yeah, I just don't know what it's attached to. I'm not willing yet
Interesting,
to...
yeah.
So you realize it is subjective and tied together to some degree.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Why can kids be around dad's poop?
Did you get some info on this?
I asked Adam Grant
Oh,
if he could help me, if he could point me in the right direction.
okay.
He gave me
This is too PG-13 for him. Did he like immediately bristle?
I said, I'm sorry. I said, I have a pretty disgusting fact to check. Dax said his kids often come into the bathroom to tell him things while he's going to the bathroom, and they don't seem to care about the smell. Our guest had the same situation with their kid. I wondered if there was some sort of evolutionary explanation for this. Do you know anyone who could answer this? I'm sorry to rope you into this very gross inquiry. And then he responded with like this face,
Yeah, exactly.
like a
Yeah,
yikes,
yeah.
but also a laughing face.
Okay.
And then he
a little this, a little that.
And then he gave me an email of someone at Yale. So that's TBD. I haven't.
Oh, okay, great. So this is kind of going to be a multi-part
Yes.
exploration.
Also, when I just did this, it reminded me in Mr. and Mrs. Smith,
Yeah.
she does your thing.
Oh, I know.
She looks in the mirror
She
and makes
does
this
so
horrifying
many
face.
great things in that show.
Yeah.
She's so good.
She is.
I love when Mr. and Mrs. Smith gets into race stuff. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
You just don't see it. Everyone's pretending that people talk different than they do.
He gets to tell that side of it, you know?
Yeah. And she gets to tell the Asian side.
Exactly.
But I'm just refreshed because like these are the real fucking conversations couples have about everybody. Like no one's putting their best foot forward to
Yeah.
appear good in public and not get canceled.
Right.
And you just don't see it on TV anymore. And it's kind of maddening because I know what real life is about. Couples talk about race. They talk about everything.
Yeah. Okay, there's the 5 minutes of History of Music, Leonard.
Oh, fuck. I forgot to look that up.
Yeah, I was going to play it, but this is going long.
Okay.
So check that out on your own time.
Okay. If this is your first episode, we don't normally give homework, so don't think this is standard.
But sometimes I do.
Probably one in about as frequently as I watch pornography. So once, twice a month, maybe. You'll get homework.
Okay. Oh, he says skadoosh when he's talking about his meditation pose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from Kung Fu Panda.
Right.
That's it.
I want to say for the record, I deeply, deeply enjoyed this interview.
Yeah, me too.
And it really stuck with me and it really made some things click for me. And it's one of my
Can you
favorite
share?
chats I've had with Bradley. Well, just like stuff that then I brought into therapy to kind of discuss. And I just like he you know, when I bring up all the stuff of like, it's hard for me to watch a guy that I'm on a spectrum of, and these are my qualities I hate. And to hear that he had no defensiveness against that. He was very much like, oh yeah, I have the same kind of thoughts. And obviously he's been thinking about it for 2 years and I've been thinking about it for 36 hours. And so kind of like once again, his synthesis of it and maybe his compassion he has for that person was just kind of, I liked observing it.
That's great.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. You know, Coop has a history, I have to acknowledge, of like every 5 years he has a little pearl of wisdom I end up using a lot,
Yeah.
you know? I never even finished my list. It occurred to me after the end of the interview. I said something like that you've taught me three really.
Actually,
yeah.
Can you share? Because
I can't remember the third, but the first one, right, was it about people talking bad about other people?
Yes.
Yeah, so that one was really a light bulb moment.
Mm-hmm.
The other was while in a relationship, not Kristen, him teaching me how to acknowledge what fear this situation is really bringing up. Because I would say the whole fight, and he would say, wow, if a woman said that to me, I would be feeling very less than, or I'd be feeling very this and that. And I really couldn't think that way yet. You know, that was
Wow.
18 years ago or something. I just couldn't. I was so stuck on that. That was a mean thing to say to me, or that was objectively bitchy or cruel. And I didn't then think, well, probably that same statement wouldn't affect someone else that had a different set of fears.
Right.
So why does that affect me? Like adding the piece of like, why is that so impactful to me? What fear do I have? And then like him encouraging me to say to that person, when you said X, it brought up this fear in me, and I am very insecure about this. And like, that's the impact. And that felt like if I were to have ever done that in front of a woman, she'd be so put off by me being weak and vulnerable that she'd be out the door. And it was always the opposite reaction. And I did not think, that was like a paradigm shift for me.
Yeah, wow. That's
That's
great.
like the beginning of the whole vulnerability thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's changed your life.
And then I can't articulate the third thing.
I think I know what it is.
Tell me.
I think I remember it. It was you were sharing something with him, and then he said, "Oh, that's why you don't like
So
X,
and so, yes.
because you're him, basically."
Yes. That was just a really punch in the nose observation. I already knew that,
Yeah.
but I was ignoring that I knew that because I wanted to be judgmental of this person.
Right.
I wanted to hold on to that, my moral righteous indignation. No, it was a different situation. I remember it very well. And he was basically pointing out like I felt slighted by somebody very public. And then I was about to be in public and I was going to share that. And I had this all mapped out of why it was fine and why this person deserved that. And they shouldn't have acted this way if they didn't want this known, blah, 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 blah. And he listened to this whole story and he's just like, you could totally do that. He's like, but I do think when you engage in negative, like, then everyone just engages with negative around you. And you just start this whole swell of negativity. It never ends anywhere positive. Then maybe that person responds and they are now forced to be negative. And it's like, as opposed to putting your energy into starting a project that's negative and will result in more negativity, why not just ignore it and like talk about the things that are positive and productive? And again, I'm not articulating that one so well, but throughout the course of this conversation we had, it occurred to me, I don't want to do that. It's why I don't ever shit on movies in here, or I don't shit on things.
Exactly.
Like I think that came in 2012, me stopping shitting on things.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have a theory that I don't think you'd like,
Okay.
right? Which we've talked about it. I think we talked about it last time he was on. That I think he's one of the only people what's the word?
Really listen to?
Like can hear.
Yeah. He's in the
butt
Tom
up
Hansen.
against, there's like a very small amount of men, I guess. Well, I'll say men.
That's what it is. Because I think I actually don't have a hard time hearing women or learning from them. But,
yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, I have a real issue with men. And there's very few that I just blindly trust that they're telling me something they believe and not that they have an ulterior motive for me.
I think you look up to him.
To Bradley?
I do think that. I don't see you have that thing a lot with people.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I don't know why I would be hesitant to say I look up to him because I do. I look up to parts of him. I don't look up to him as an actor. I don't look, I don't look up to him. So
No,
I
I
guess I'm
know.
like nervous people would think. But yeah, somehow Tom Hansen synthesizes things in a way that I can hear what he's saying and they penetrate my brain. And Cooper too. And I think, I can tell you what both guys share in common, which is they're abnormally truthful about their character defects and their flaws. And so I guess I just trust them a lot more.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think people who are like really not trying to hide that stuff about themselves, I can hear a lot better.
Yeah. I also think it's kind of one of those like we don't always know why. We don't always know why there are people in our lives who we just like, there's something about them that we want to be or like it has nothing to do with how much you like or love a person.
Yeah, definitely Hanson and Jimmy are like dad figures for me.
Yeah.
And Cooper's a brother figure for me.
Right.
That's why maybe I'm like not like I can't go straight look up. But I don't know why, because I look up to my brother. I looked up to him growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely look up to Cooper. That's my conclusion. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
Yeah.
It's good to have people to look up to.
Yeah. It's an act of humility in a sense.
It
which is why I'm
is.
struggling so hard right now.
I know.
To acknowledge it.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think you want to be in a position where like a pat on the back from nobody would feel special.
Yeah. Okay, well, this was fun.
Yeah, so much fun. And welcome for those first-time listeners. We love
Hope
having
you
you.
stay.
Hope you'll stick around and give us another shot. Love you.
Bye, love you.